morning?
Sure. As you're waking up and listening in, it is day 5 in the operations in Iran. And looking at the operational snapshot, this is from defconlevel.com. Killed so far, unfortunately, 6 Americans, plus 4 seriously wounded. Target struck 1,000 plus in the first 24 hours. Iranian Navy, all 11 Gulf of Oman warships are destroyed. Air superiority, we are established over the southern Iran by day 2, carrier aircraft operating day and night. Iranian retaliation, 165 ballistic missiles, 2 cruise missiles, 541 drones fired on Gulf states, 21 drones hit civilian targets, 3 migrant workers killed in UAE, and it continues on and on. What's new, I think, what most people are waking up to, is that the State Department orders a 14-country evacuation as regional security deteriorates. And here is Marco Rubio on that evacuation order.
The State Department is now actively, as it has been now for the last 72 hours, implementing our plans to help Americans in the Middle East be able to depart. As of a few minutes ago before I left, 9,000 Americans have been able to leave the region since the start of this war. We have about 1,500 Americans that are requesting assistance with departure. We have identified and continue to identify charter flights, military flight options, and expanded commercial flight options, meaning working with the airlines to send bigger airplanes with more seats, and the combination of those 3 things.
So approximately 3,000 flights have been canceled since the conflict began, with a wide corridor of Middle East airspace remaining closed across the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Israel, Bahrain, and Iraq, according to the aviation tracking data. This is an American influencer who was over there, and she gives you their attempt from Kuwait to exit Kuwait and get back to the States. Here's what she had to say.
We're also learning that many people are just simply trapped. Live to Kuwait now, and travel blogger Alyssa Ramos. What are the effects of the strikes where you are in Kuwait?
Hi, thanks for asking. And it's exactly what she just said. We are now taking matters into our own hands because the government simply is not helping us, and there's no way to get a hold of anyone. We've tried to reach out to the embassy. The embassy here in Kuwait has been hit while we've been here. The strikes on the airport happened about 2 hours after we landed. As soon as we did land, we could hear the missiles overhead at the airport. We were really scared. We asked if we should wait around and try to get a flight out, but everyone told us the airport would be closing and to go to our hotels where it would be safer. So we've been at the hotel for 3 days now. Our flights out have been canceled. We've been trying to get new flights, but as you have been seeing with the Flight Aware map, there is nothing flying over Kuwait right now. So we have taken matters into our own hands. I've been talking to local people here, and social media has helped a lot. There's also a local influencer here who's been helping me get in contact with companies to coordinate a land border crossing, so we can at least get into Saudi Arabia and take flights out of Riyadh. There are 5 of us with me here, and from Instagram, I've asked if anyone else needed help, and about 20 people responded that they're also stuck here in Kuwait without any help from their governments. Some are Americans, some are from other countries. So basically, I just created a group chat for them today and dropped the name of the driver in there. So 4 people got out today. They confirmed crossing the border into Saudi Arabia safely, and they're on the way to Riyadh, and hopefully we will do the same tomorrow. But we have been hearing the missiles and drones overhead nonstop for 3 days. We hear the collisions from the interceptions. The Kuwaiti air defense has been doing a really good job at intercepting almost every single one of them. But it is nerve-wracking. It's terrifying. We hear the sirens all day, all night, in the middle of the night, and then we hear the explosions in the sky. And of course, we see the news of places around us getting struck, mostly by falling debris, but they are targeted. And it's just really scary. We're just really hoping to get out of here.
And Jeannie, there's a number of couples from Chicago, from Illinois, who are stuck in Kuwait, Dubai, Israel, and they're all scurrying to try and get to another country to then get home. But if you look at this video, there was a plane taking off in Beirut, and there is an incoming missile, and that plane just banked up to the right. I mean, I got the chills looking at it. Can you imagine being stuck there? And they're remaining calm. You know, that's what we do as Americans. But the U.S. State Department has got to send in charter planes soon to try and help them.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? For me, this is a little bit of a civilian wake-up call to what war looks like. And it should allow them to have a little bit more appreciation for what our military does, what the threat looks like, the fact that, guess what? This is not some sort of, video game out there. This is real life and real things are happening. And I think when you think about that, a lot of people are diminishing the fact that there was any real threat at all. But Marco Rubio put that to rest. He was prescient in 2015. And this is a little bit long, but I think everybody deserves to hear what Marco Rubio said about Iran and their threat in 2015.
Tennessee would like to close on this matter. I think everything that needs to be said about the details of this deal have already been said. I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what is going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships, continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal, and they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. This is not just a work of imagination. It exists in the world today. It's called North Korea, where a lunatic possesses dozens of nuclear weapons and a long-range rocket that can already reach the United States. And we cannot do anything about it. An attack on North Korea today would result in an attack on Tokyo, or Seoul, or Guam, or Hawaii, or California. And so the world must now live with a lunatic in possession of nuclear weapons. And this is the goal Iran has as well, to reach a point where they become immune to any sort of credible military threat because the price of a military strike would be too high. And then they become an established nuclear weapons power. And never in the history of the world has such a regime ever possessed weapons so capable of destruction. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purpose.
He predicted everything. He predicted the entire future. Marco Rubio, then Senator Marco Rubio at the time.
Yes, and at the tail end of that, he talked about North Korea having everything that Iran wants, and now we are unable to hold them in check. And they actually have the ballistic capability to hit the United States. Is this what the Democrats wanted? Because when they voted against, when they voted for a measure to try and enforce the War Powers Resolution, a procedural vote, albeit, when they voted for that, they voted to stop what Trump is doing right now to decimate and take apart the Iranian regime that wants nothing more than to kill Americans. That's what they voted for.
312-642-5600. Let's quickly go to Craig in Mount Greenwood. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Oh, hey, good morning, Amy. It's always you, Amy, and Jeannie. It's very good to hear you guys, and you guys do a good job with that. I appreciate the opportunity to mention something here. The whole idea of there was an imminent, going in and using the all kinds of missiles and bombs and jets and everything. It was all like it was being talked about for so long. And Trump, there was a number of times when he basically was hinting without giving it away to the enemy that, hey, we're coming, we're going to get you everything, and when we're going to do it. But the one hint that was so good, so important, was when he said, he gave him like a little, like 10 to 15 days or what it was. But there were so many times when people that were over there, they should have basically realized Trump's not messing around. He's trying to give you a hint. Get the heck out of there. And that's why there's so many people that just stayed there. And, now they're in harm's way. And Trump wants them out of there. He doesn't want them to get hurt. But nobody's really mentioning about how he did what he could do without giving it away. That, like, you need to get out of there because something bad. He kept saying,
Right.
it's
Well,
going to be
during the
bad.
State
It's
of the
gonna be-"
Union, he didn't, discuss, because you don't tell your enemy your plans. But I know it's hard. But
Although
when
we
you-
had 2 aircraft
Thanks for-
carriers, lots of destroyers, Air
Right.
Forces built up.
Well, we
I
knew it
think
was
we
coming,
knew
Jeannie.
something
We knew it was going to
kinda
happen, but we
obvious,
didn't
yeah.
know when. And if you're traveling
Exactly.
overseas, like anytime you go overseas, check the U.S. State Department website. I know people pass that over and glaze it over. Don't do that, okay? And then when you are overseas and you get in trouble, the U.S. State Department is the ones to call because they protect Americans overseas. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the Texas primary brings 2 surprises and a choice for President Trump. And how did you gain access to our children? We'll explain, but now let's go into the newsroom and check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 38 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. A firefighter from Arlington Heights has unfortunately experienced the other side of his job. According to reports, Arlington Heights firefighters were called to a home belonging to one of their fellow firefighters. Officials say the fire began when a toaster oven caught fire. Family members tried unsuccessfully to put out the flames. Fire was contained to the kitchen area. There were no injuries reported. Former Presidents Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and Joe Biden are among those set to be paying tribute to the late Reverend Jesse Jackson tomorrow. Other dignitaries expected to attend include Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, and U.S. Representative Maxine Waters. Jennifer Hudson and gospel singers B.B. Winans and Pastor Marvin Winans are scheduled to perform at the homegoing service, which is being called the People's Celebration. The celebration of Reverend Jesse Jackson's life will be held at the House of Hope. Services start at 11. This report is sponsored by WeatherBug. Get the fastest local alerts and accurate 24/7 forecasts with WeatherBug. It's easy to use and provides real-time customizable alerts so the weather never takes you by surprise. Plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store now.
Larry Elder reacts to Trump's State of the Union.
The whole point was to talk about his accomplishments, talk about how the economy is doing now, how it's going to be doing down the road, what the benefits will be of the big, beautiful bill, all of which he accomplished. And I'll tell you, I knew it was going to be long. I thought it was going to be too long, but I enjoyed every single minute of it.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
Opponents of this law are preying upon fear of change to lie and fearmonger.
JB and BJ are the liars and the fearmongers. They are the sickness that is killing Illinois and Illinoisans. They give sanctuary to foreign predators and sanction to domestic repeat offenders while vilifying the police. A Cook County study found 74% of criminal defendants failed to show up to court after being released under Pritzker's Safety Act. Listen to this suburban police chief.
I don't call it the Safety Act. I call it the Unsafety Act because that's what it is. There's no. I'm still waiting for somebody to explain to me where does safety come in. Who are we keeping safe here when you call it the Safety Act?
Not you. I will repeal Pritzker's purge law and end JB and BJ's killing spree before it hits you. I'm Ted Dabrowski, your conservative candidate for governor, and I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on March 17th. Paid for by Ted for Illinois.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ziprecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be cloudy with dense fog in the morning, followed by a shower or two. Fog will persist in the afternoon with a high of 45. Tonight, expect low clouds and a low of 39. Tomorrow will be cloudy and warm, breaking the record of 70 set in 2000. There will be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with breezy conditions in the afternoon. The high will reach 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
All right, quickly, before we move on, I think we should remember the men and women who died. They identified the 4 right away, and the other 2, they were still working on their identifications. But they should not be forgotten. Captain Cody Cronk, he was 35 years old from Winter Haven, Florida. These are all people who enlisted in the National Guard. And they were all from just all over the country. And what breaks my heart, Nicole Amore, 39, from West Bear Lake, Minnesota. She joined the National Guard in 2005 and then transferred to the Army Reserve. They're all in Army Reserve, excuse me. And she has 2 kids that she leaves behind. But she was fighting for her country. She was proud of America. She wanted to be part of it, and that's why she joined the Army Reserve. There's more 20-year-old from, he was a student at Drake University, Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzin, and Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzin, as I just mentioned, and then there was others, and it breaks your heart. Just think about, what they're fighting for and our freedoms, and remind your kids and grandkids of the atrocities that the Ayatollah has put on Americans and our troops since 1979. Thousands have been killed. Hundreds of Marines have been killed. I mean, and then not only the hostages that they took, obviously, for 444 days, but it had to be done. There is no perfect time, but the time was
speaking
now.
of timing, I mean, that's one of the big question marks that the Democrats are raising on whether or not this was an imminent threat. And Barton Swain pretty much puts that to rest in his Wall Street Journal article. The Democrats' instant no. A savvier party would have waited before lashing out against the attack on Iran. And, he notices that, Donald Trump is now a wartime president, and the conflict in Iran will likely dominate his attention from now until he leaves office in 2029. He also says this. Some of his extracurricular fixations, personal vendettas, online foolery, could get less attention. That actually might be a good thing. But he says, if Trump, if Trump hadn't done this, what then? And he says, the stated reasons for the Democrats opposing this wartime footing is them saying, first, it's illegal and unconstitutional. Second, the threat from Iran wasn't imminent. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, writing for the Journal on Sunday, combined these two and said, as a member of the Senate Armed Services and Foreign Relations Committee, I can state plainly that there was no imminent threat from Iran to America sufficient to warrant committing our sons and daughters to another war in the Middle East, especially without the congressional debate and vote that the Constitution requires. Swaim writes, hooey, if the Constitution requires congressional approval, there's no especially about it. And he goes on to say, from Mr. Kane, I guess, imminence would mean the Ayatollah's finger poised above a red button labeled launch. And as we just heard from Secretary Rubio, 11 years ago, if not now, when? 11 years ago, possibly Barack Obama should have taken action.
Well, instead, he gave him $65 million, pallets of cash, thinking that would help, and they used that money to build up their arsenal. And same with Biden and same with Kamala Harris. Their one word was, don't. Well, that didn't work. So Trump is in there taking action. This is why we elected him. This is why we put him in office for a second term. Let's go to the phone lines. John in Libertyville. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, John.
Hey, Jeannie, hey, Amy, thank you for taking my call. You guys are great. I just want to say I wholeheartedly disagree. I voted for Donald Trump 3 times because he was an anti-war president who wouldn't get us bogged down in the Middle East, as he said, for many years. Then when the Epstein files came out, all of a sudden we go to war. He wanted to cover up the Epstein files. I don't trust him anymore.
John, are you one of those people who actually thinks that Trump was on Lolita Island and on the Lolita Express?
No, but I actually think that he wants to cover it up. He said it was a hoax. I mean, he totally. All of a sudden, we're going to war in Iran, and he's going to disclose UFOs, and that didn't work. So he didn't want to bring any of it out. Why didn't he want to bring it out? I don't know. I know he's not really in there. He's in there, but they're substantiated claims.
Well, he did fly on Epstein's plane. We did have his secretary talk about that, but not to
Lolita.
No. Listen, John, I'm talking. You have to listen. He took the plane because she said in West Palm Beach, everyone's rich and everyone needs to go to Manhattan. So secretaries call each other all the time, say, hey, who's going to Manhattan?
But who elected him to go to war, Amy? No one. No one elected him to go to war. He said he didn't want to go to war for three elections that he ran in.
Well, and John, I believe you. I believe that he did not want to go to war, but in 2023 on October 7th, when Hamas came over the Israeli border, took out 1,200 people, raped, murdered, kidnapped, hundreds, tortured them, including 40 Americans. When that all happened, and then you had Hezbollah getting into the mix as well. I think at that point, and then when you've had Iranian completely disregard any concept of come to the table, negotiating some sort of deal where they can have, civilian use of nuclear material, and they won't do that. And we know that they're a rogue state, and they continue to fund, the Houthis as well, that was wreaking havoc in those seas. When you have that going on, and then you know what you know about what they've continued to do with their nuclear program, and then you realize that they've been at this for 47 years, and they're chanting their chants of death to America are actually real. And oh, by the way, they put a price on Trump's head.
Yeah,
I mean, and then you find that the Israelis themselves are going to continue to take action. I guess at some point you have to either heed the warning that Rubio had 11 years ago, and then also, and I think one of the best things that Rubio did is he at the end of his 3 minutes there, he connected what was happening in Iran to what has already happened in North Korea. Do you want a nuclear-armed Iran or not, with somebody like the Ayatollah, a zealot, a religious fanatic, making the decisions? And then you've seen this uprising in January of the Iranian people in the streets protesting. And what do?
They cut off their internet and they slaughtered 20,000 plus people for protesting.
Yes.
For having freedom of choice. And we know that the rules are different there, but they used to live in normalcy. Women used to wake up and decide, am I going to put on jeans today? How am I going to do my hair? They could go to the university. They become lawyers. They were just our equals here in America. And then that was all taken away from them. So I love these women who used to be anti-ICE protesters are now hands off Iran. They don't even know what they're talking about. Aren't you a feminist? You're a Democratic woman.
This is an emergency protest to reject Trump's illegal and unprovoked war on Iran that is going to become a larger regional war that's going to drag the U.S. into another endless war. We're here because the American people do not want this war. We're here to raise our voices and to spread that message to the White House and to the world.
And this is great because there is an Iranian American who was there at the protest just to watch. He called them clueless.
I think of duty all the time. I think of duty as a veteran to be here with you all, to use our collective power and break the cycle of forever wars that have already claimed over 500 lives
That's the
in
wrong
Iran,
soundbite, excuse
including
me.
over 80
We'll get it for later, but in the meantime, we'll take phone calls. 312-642-5600. Let's go to Steve on the Northwest side.
You know, like I wanted to respond to that previous caller that said he voted for Trump. He doesn't like him now. He's not going to vote for him. I voted for Trump too because I think that wars like Vietnam, Korea, all these little skirmishes that we send our people off to fight in are absolutely immoral and probably illegal. But things change. This situation in the Middle East changed. This is a strategic value for the United States to go. I don't even want to use the term war because we're not at war. We attacked Iran. It's a just cause. Let's not fall prey to the nonsense that these communist, anti-American Democrats are putting out there. If Trump cured cancer today, they'd find a reason to attack him.
You're right about that. Thank you.
Let's go to Tina in Joliet. Good morning, Tina. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning. It's so nice to hear you in the morning again. I wanted to say, I think half the Republican Party is as stupid as the Democrats on this issue. It's clear to me that when Donald Trump spent the first portion of his term heading over to the Middle East, he was building coalitions so that they could stabilize the region. And part of stabilizing the region was dealing with Iran once and for all. And he wants peace in the Middle East. The entire world will benefit from peace in the Middle East. And we won't have to have a presence there anymore. We won't have to be dealing with this if we cut off the head of the snake. And that's what he's doing, in my perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but there's much more to this, and we're going to get into it. We'll have Gordon Chang on in our 8:35 hour, and he's saying it. A lot of other folks are saying it, but the Iranian strike is all about China. There's some truth to that. No, the Iranian strike is about taking out a rogue terrorist regime that is threatening all of the world with its nuclear capability and its increasingly longer range missiles that eventually we're going to be able to hit the United States, just like North Korea has. And this was all part of China's helping them do that. So we're going to get a twofer here. And we'll talk to Gordon Chang about that.
Yeah,
but people who I agree. I don't think Trump wanted to go to war.
No, but his hands are tied. And what I was going to tell you, and I was sorry I interrupted you, is that he said, I assassinated him before he killed me. That's what President Trump said. And I believe that. And also, now China, where are they going to get their gas? They've been getting it on the down low from Iran and from Argentina. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Here's this. I just want you to hear this male, this Iranian male, because it's really important what he has to say, because he's observing these hands-off Iran protests.
I'm an Iranian American. I've come here to see what this is all about. You know, I'm getting texts on my phone, blowing up, seeing all the Persians rallying behind the U.S., making this courageous strike, and seeing all these clueless people that have no idea that the civilian casualties that have been going on for the past 3 months finally come out just to take a stand against Trump because of their political beliefs, having no care in the world for the civilians. It's disgusting.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Tim in Woodstock. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Tim.
Hi, good morning, Amy. Good morning, Jeannie. You know, in Marco Rubio's own words, and thank you for playing that. I hadn't heard that. He said eventually the price will be too high to try to do anything to stop Iran. And I don't know what people don't understand about that idea. What I would say to people who talk about endless wars is that this is an attempt to prevent a long-term war, an endless war, when the price is too high and Iran is too strong, and they can attach a nuclear weapon to an intercontinental ballistic missile. And, you know, and you still have people, and I love Matt, but I forget Matt's last name now, but he's got a podcast, and he's talking about that Trump hasn't made the case, and I don't know what people don't understand about we want an Iran that has no nuclear power other than to produce their own electricity and no ability to reach our American base. We have a moral obligation, by the way, to protect our armies and military in the Middle East that those missiles can reach, and we have a moral obligation to protect Israel, our ally as well. But this is an attempt to prevent all that right now. That's what I think.
I completely agree.
Thanks,
He
Tim.
didn't want war. It came to him. He had to do it.
And he's the only president who has the courage,
the gall,
the wherewithal.
Would you prefer we go back to Obama and give them $56 billion more of cash and let them do whatever they want to in terms of enriching the nuclear material?
And it's so strange because their BFF, their live-in friend. What adults have a live-in friend? But they do. Valerie Jarrett, she's from Iran. And that always passes over the plate for everybody. I always think there's got to be something, some connection, something there. Let's go to John in Milwaukee. Good morning.
Good morning. Nothing was said during the Biden years. Nothing. And the other thing I wanted to say is if Trump said it was partly cloudy, they would say it's partly sunny. Also, it's rather amazing how these people, they get their signage within 4 hours of a news bulletin. It's just amazing. Thank you so much.
And it's the same group that jumped from anti-ICE protests, from blowing their whistles to grabbing now the yellow signs that say hands off Iran or the white and black signs that say no war, and they're marching on the streets.
Yeah, remember the original hands-off signs, though?
In Chicago?
Hands off our health care.
Oh, that's
against the one big, beautiful bill. I mean, can they come up? They're not original at all.
No, but they're so predictable, and it's getting old. And I just wonder, what the next cause du jour will be after hands off Iran. But
How
I
long
love
will it take for the high schoolers to be doing hands off Iran instead of hands off ICE?
I don't know if they're going to take to the streets for that, but
all
still, I love it because my neighbor has the hands off Chicago sign, and now Jeannie, she has the yellow hands off Iran. Oh, geez.
You need to get new neighbors.
Don't you know it? All right, let's go to Lewis on the south side. Good morning.
Good morning. Chang, we should listen to Chang because, like he said, it's about China. Trump said that this war would be over in 4 to 5 weeks. What happens in 4 to 5 weeks? This is what happens. March the 26th, Trump goes to China, and he's going there. What done happened is that when the Supreme Court said that he couldn't use those tariffs no more, he lost his leverage with the Chinese. And so now he has a new leverage with the Chinese because they were buying oil from the Venezuelans and from the Iranians below market value.
Yep.
And so he's going to use that leverage right now, to make a better deal for national security with the Chinese. And I think we need to listen to Chang when he comes up. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, though, I wouldn't tell the enemy when you're leaving. When Trump came out and said, "Oh, we'll be done in 3 to 4 weeks,"
well,
I just keep that under the belt.
Well,
but
he
then
said,
changed
he
it.
said 4 to 5 weeks, but we're going to do what the mission requires. And so he was making an estimate, but then backed away from that.
And I misspoke. I said Argentina. I meant Venezuela. China is getting their oil from Venezuela and Iran. At least they were. So
Not
I don't know
anymore.
what. Are they going to have to turn to the Russians? What are they going to do? All right, let's go to Robert in Bloomingdale. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. We are run by a criminal government. That's why I voted for Trump, and I thought he would change something. He has not. The Epstein files is federal law. He is breaking federal law by not releasing all of them. That's one criminal act. Second criminal act is United States law. As a signatory to the NPT, we are not allowed to give any money or any military aid to any countries that is not a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and has nuclear weapons. Israel. It's against U.S. law to give any of that to Israel. That is a criminal act that our government's been pulling. Two, we are run by a criminal government. That's why I voted for Trump, and he's changed nothing. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, remembering politicians across the country who've been voted out of office. Plus, the Texas state Senate race. Who will President Trump endorse, or should he stay out of it? We'll take your phone calls.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Rick Borick talks about the risk of being in the stock market right near retirement.
It's easy to drive around with no seatbelt on if you never think you're going to have an accident, right? And you go, well, it's never going to go down. I don't need protection for my portfolio. We're a big fan of getting those gains, but we're also a bigger fan of not taking huge losses.
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. As we watch the ongoing campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran, President Trump now faces a decision on when to end the battle. A premature end will almost certainly lead to another war. This regime refused to stop its nuclear program, its missiles program, its export of terrorism after President Trump ordered Qasem Soleimani killed in January 2020, and again after Operation Midnight Hammer in June of last year when it obliterated the nuclear weapons program of the Islamic Republic. Instead, the fanatics atop this barbarous regime began to rebuild their killing capabilities and displayed their true nature with a stunning massacre of more than 35,000 of their own citizens in January. The Islamic Republic regime is incapable of changing. The regime must be changed. Persevere, President Trump. Americans have been dying at the hands of this wicked regime since it came to power in 1979. More have died this week. Do not let this regime survive to kill again.
Hey, business owners, is your business and money in good hands? Does your bank invest in your success? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that when you need a relationship bank, Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. I love these guys. Not only do they have expansive industry experience, a strong financial track record, but they're also highly capitalized for strategic growth. That's so important. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. They know what it means to grow a business by designing solutions that are right for you and only you. These are real people. They're ready to help. So reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Make the call today, 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Go online, signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank.
Looking for some hope? Listen to Leading the Way with Dr. Michael Youssef on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. Weekday mornings starting at 8. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
A new threat from Iran. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After the U.S. sank a warship in international waters with a torpedo, Iran's foreign minister posted on social media today the U.S. will come to bitterly regret the precedent set, calling it an atrocity at sea.
Abbas Araghchi says the vessel was a guest of the Indian Navy and was attacked without warning. Meanwhile, a senior Iranian cleric has appeared on state TV to call for the shedding of blood from Israelis and President Trump. Still no official word on who'll be selected as the Islamic Republic's new supreme leader.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. Now, Iran did launch more missiles into Israel this morning that were shot down. There are reports of explosions in Qatar and Bahrain. As the U.S. and Israel keep up the attacks, Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv.
A senior Israeli official telling Fox News today over the phone that the regime is now having trouble communicating and coordinating as Israeli and American strikes go after the IRGC leadership structure and the entire mechanism of repression. It's referred to the organization that cracked down on protesters earlier this year.
Now, Democrats keep trying to limit President Trump in Iran.
In their blind hatred of the president, just being opposed to anything that he wants to do.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune, as Republicans blocked a war powers resolution the House will vote on today. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Regime change wars have never worked out for the American people. And of course, thousands of lives.
Oil prices are rising more. Another 6-cent increase also at the gas pump. AAA's national average for regular $3.25 per gallon this morning, up 26 cents in 3 days. Well, in a new Fox News poll,
37% rating the U.S. economy as poor, while 7% describe it as excellent and 23% as good. More than half of those polled, 57%, rating their personal finances as only fair or poor.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin, and the approval rating for President Trump only at 43% in that poll. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 38 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Governor J.B. Pritzker met with Cook County health officials to announce a combined $2.6 billion in erased medical debt between the county and state. Pritzker said of that total, $1.5 billion was erased through a Cook County program, with an additional $1.1 billion being erased through the state program. The state partnered with nonprofit Undo Medical Debt to create the statewide program in 2024. The nonprofit CEO Allison Sesso described the act of erasing debt as taking advantage of the market system. She explained the way that debt can be functionally erased is by purchasing it from collection agencies who sell it at pennies on the dollar due to the likelihood of that debt not being paid. The National Bureau of Economic Research conducted a study in 2024 that found that the impact may not be as prominent as suggested by officials, including a decrease of the likelihood of future medical debts being repaid by patients. A new mobile dental clinic from U Chicago Medicine is rolling into Chicago's South Side and the South Suburbs. The vehicle is designed to help older people who have a difficult time seeing the dentist or don't have insurance. University of Chicago Medicine patients over the age of 50 with no dental insurance are eligible to enroll in the 5-year study. The mobile dental clinic is equipped with 2 chairs. Patients can get an oral exam, x-rays, dentures, root canals, and more. And the special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children in Illinois has expanded its offerings to include new foods, additional package sizes, and food quantity adjustments to align with nutrition science and dietary needs. On average, more than 170,000 Illinois residents receive WIC benefits each month. News is a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com. That's SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Steiner Homes, love where you live. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike Gallagher explains his thoughts on the Iran bombings.
Look, overwhelming support of this administration's decision to join Israel in wiping out the Ayatollah and over 40 members of the Iranian leadership. We're in a spiritual war. This is about good versus evil.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
With so much financial uncertainty, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Nolan Webster. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's the new beginning. Stop by our office in Palatine or call 224-801-6107. That's 224-801-6107. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
I thought you didn't have
have any employees.
That's right. Our showrooms are employee-free.
But you still answer the phone?
Of course. Order Sealy Posturepedic and Beauty Rest mattresses by phone, online, or at our in-store kiosk.
No employees.
Saves you money. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
Keep this up and you'll be named non-employee of the month.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasselist.com.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Just 14 minutes both ways on the Edens from Lake Cook to Montrose, and the Kennedy looks good. Inbound from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange, 17 minutes. Outbound is 21. We are slow on the northbound Tri-State. There's lots of volume on that exit ramp to get onto the westbound Ike. On the Eisenhower, it's 14 minutes both ways from Wolf to the old post office. The Stevenson is 24 in, 21 out from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore, 14 in, 11 out on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange, but a little bit sluggish in the express lanes between Pershing Road and the Stevenson. I-57 and the Bishop Ford also slow down as you approach the Dan Ryan. This report is a service of the AM 560 Advantage. Membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets, exclusive contest opportunities, and special member-only content. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be cloudy with dense fog in the morning, followed by a shower or two. Fog will persist in the afternoon with a high of 45. Tonight, expect low clouds and a low of 39. Tomorrow will be cloudy and warm, breaking the record of 70 set in 2000. There will be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with breezy conditions in the afternoon. The high will reach 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. This hourly segment is brought to you by The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. Heard weekday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Good foggy Thursday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Jeannie Ives in for Dan Proft. And don't forget, if you want more of us, you can listen every day from 11 a.m. to noon. The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. And if you miss it, download the podcast. Download the AM 560 app. Click in there, and then you could see us. 312-642-5600.
Well,
see
and
us and listen to us.
today we have a exclusive first interview with an important person. We're going to just tease it, but you'll not want to miss it.
Yeah, this person, been working on him for a while because I said, why don't you own this story? Don't let anybody else own it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave one interview to Fox Digital, but we're going to hear his voice. We're going to hear his story for the first time. That's at 11:35 today. You're not going to want to miss it. So we hope that you definitely tune in or listen on the AM 560 app. All right, all eyes are on Texas. Texas primary brings two surprises and a choice for President Trump. Yesterday, a lot of people went down. Do you want me to tell the list? Went down. Dan Crenshaw went down. Representative Al Green, 78 years old. Can you believe that? It's time to retire, and he could take his cane with him.
Well, I mean, look at, though. You've got Grassley still in the Senate. He's, 92 or something?
Yeah.
Come on.
There's 12 members who are in their late 70s, early 80s. So at some point in time, we should enact age limits on House members and members of the U.S. Senate because it's a while. But the choice today, and the question is 312-642-5600. Trump is going to decide whether or not to support John Cornyn or Ken Paxton. Mm-hmm. Should he stay out of it, or should he make an endorsement? Here is John Cornyn on primary night.
The statewide early results are in, and we did very well, as expected, and we were on to the runoff. I want to start by thanking my family, without whose support and love I could not do what I get an opportunity to do, representing 32 million Texans in the United States Senate. I want to thank everybody who voted for me, and the way I view it, it's an indication of their trust in the service that I provided to this great state for many years now. To Congressman Wesley Hunt and his family. You ran a spirited race, and you have a bright future, and I wish you well. We now head into a 12-week primary runoff. Elections are about choices, and the choice in the Republican race for the U.S. Senate is crystal clear. I've worked for decades to build the Republican Party.
And then Paxton, he spoke to, and these two, they're going to be in the fight of their life, the most expensive primary race ever, and they don't want to spend millions more. So yesterday, John Thune from South Dakota said that he's hoping that President Trump backs John Cornyn, and we could just stop this and we can all get together. President Trump put on Truth Social, "We have an easy to beat radical left opponent, and we have to totally focus on putting him away quickly and decisively. Both John and Ken ran great races, but not good enough. Now this one must be perfect. My endorsements within the Republican Party have been virtually insurmountable. It is such an honor to realize and say that almost everyone I endorse wins." I love Trump. And he put wins in capital letters. And wins by a lot, especially in Texas. "I'll be making my endorsement soon and will be asking the candidate that I don't endorse to immediately drop out of the race. Is that fair? We must win in November. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump." I love when he says that. Thank you for attention to this matter. But do you think is Ken Paxton going to drop out?
No, Ken Paxton is not going to drop out. There's no way. I think he's spent somewhat like $50 million already. And, he's betting that people are going to want somebody who he believes is a more conservative voice. However, if I were helping out on that campaign and advising it, I would keep John Cornyn away from the microphone. He just sounds old and stale. And
I
that's
think he
not
got work
good.
done because his wrinkles. He has a Biden face now.
That's fine, but I mean, we just heard his slow voice there. He didn't seem to have any enthusiasm or energy, and I believe that Trump will endorse Cornyn in the end. I think he was going to do that. I think it's going to be one hell of a fight, and I think that there's so much money in Texas, and they spend a lot on their politics, that both of those gentlemen will stay in, and it'll be a bitter fight to the end. So Trump's not going to get what he wants if he endorses. Paxton's in it to win it. But I will say this. I have friends in Texas, and they're fairly prominent Republicans and part of they're close to people, let's put it that way, in the Republican Party. And they voted for Cornyn. And a lot of this has to do with Paxton's
alleged
his
infidelities.
They just don't think that he is a stand-up guy, and that is definitely going to come to the forefront in this race. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get nasty. I also know who's running Paxton's race pretty well.
Right.
So,
but as the Attorney General of Texas, he's been a friend of the show.
Yeah.
He's been on several times. He accomplished a lot.
Yeah, he was on my show when the Texas Democrats ran to Illinois to hide from the redistricting vote. It's going to be a bitter fight to the end, and it doesn't matter what Trump does. Texans are going to do what they want to do.
312-642-5600. Jasmine Crockett, who gave up her congressional seat, was kind of being redistricted anyway, and she was backed by Kamala Harris. She has a little bit of egg on her face because they extended the polling place in Dallas for 2 hours because she blamed the Republicans. She's like, "You're doing this to me on purpose." There was a glitch. It happened in Maricopa County, too, back when Carrie Lake was running for governor. I mean, this stuff happens. She remains resilient, she says. This is a part of her concession.
All Red has already stated, we encourage each and every one of you to remain resilient. We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it. So I am asking you, I am begging you to make sure that you go ahead and figure out where it is that you are supposed to vote, stand in line, wait in line.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's what she said before. She has yet to come out to the media and, make a statement. But what do you think she's going to do next? Like MS Now? I mean, Rachel Maddow, Nicole Wallace, step down. You've got a powerful black woman here that she should take their job. I mean, I think it's only a matter of time before she goes over there and is a commentator.
Well, I mean, her opponent in that race is a piece of work, so to speak.
Yes, and this is why you have to pay attention to this. James Tallarico is a preacher. He supports Planned Parenthood. He says God is non-binary, that the trans community needs abortion care, and that Jesus was a radical feminist. He wants to abolish ICE and support men in women's sports, but he was supposed to be the moderate compared to Jasmine Crockett, and he's more progressive than anyone. Listen to this lunatic. This is some scary stuff. God is non-binary.
Is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary. Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too.
Trans community needs abortion care too. He also said that the Torah tells you how to give an abortion and that there are 6 genders. Here he is. He's a state rep in Texas.
I want us all to be aware of is that modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6, which honestly, Representative Hefner surprised me too. Surprised me too, because I am not well versed in this issue area. I'm not a scientist. I'm a politician, a lot worse than a scientist.
He thinks that the Bible supports gay marriage, and he thinks Jesus supported abortion because he talked to and was kind to women. I mean, this is what scares me. This is why I want the Republicans to coalesce and come behind one candidate. So, because 12 weeks is going to be here before you know it. May is their runoff election.
Well, somebody else who actually served with Tallarico and is also was the person who defeated Dan Crenshaw, which is a huge deal too. Dan Crenshaw loses after 8 years as a congressman. But
maybe he was a congresswoman.
Yeah, no,
don't know.
Not at all. Oh my gosh. But speaking of which, when I was running against Sean Casten, Dan Crenshaw. Well, Sean Casten called Dan Crenshaw a racist of all things, and I was running against Casten. I happened to see Dan Crenshaw when I was up on the Capitol Hill doing some fundraising stuff, and I said, "Hey, I'm running against Casten." So I got this great picture with Dan Crenshaw. I mean, a lot of people want to call him a rhino, whatever. You know, I appreciate Dan Crenshaw and the fight that he put in. Honestly, I have no problems with him. But the guy who beat him is a guy named Steve Toth, and he is a current state representative. And he served with James Tallarico, this whack job in the Texas House. And this is what he said. I thought I had the clip. I don't have the clip, but this is what he said. I served with James Tallarico from 2019 to today. This guy is as evil as they come. There is a darkness to this man's life. If you doubt that there is a wickedness and evil and a demonic presence in the world, you only have to look at James Tallarico. He is an awful, awful person.
Ooh. 312-642-5600. I mean, he's obviously a Democrat, but a Presbyterian seminarian. And all these sermons he gave, they're going to come to light. We are going to play them until the cows come home, because we have to remind people this is the other option. This is scary stuff.
Well, look, here's the deal. Like, when you serve with other Democrats and you're getting into the heat of a policy debate and they start to throw around words like you're a misogynist, you're a racist. I've been called all of them.
Yeah, Gina, can you stop being a racist?
I don't know, but I mean, you have to really feel this to say what Steve Toth said about James Tallarico. You have to really feel that to say what he said. If you doubt that there's a wickedness and evil and a demonic presence in the world, you only have to look at James Tallarico. Now, how many people would say that against a political opponent? That's pretty damning words. And people, you know what? The Democrats just voted him. I mean, obviously the guy's going to lose massively in Texas.
I mean, is he? Because he was out there saying, I got the most votes from the younger generation. I got 779,000 votes. And I mean, Texas can't stand for that. Here he is about abortions. He said his mom used to take him to the abortion clinics or to a Planned Parenthood, and he praises them. It's just
so did J.B. Pritzker's mom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she was out there teaching him to be a young activist, for all of those causes.
There's some subtle instructions for how to perform an abortion in the ancient world, certain things to drink, things like that. Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending
that's a montage of all of his preachings. That's what he believes. Let's go to the phone lines, 312-642-5600. Let's go to Peter in lovely Highland, Indiana, one of my favorite towns. How are you?
It is a lovely town. I moved from the occupied territories of Illinois 5 years ago. Love it here. Is this Amy talking?
Yeah. Yes.
You know my sister. You take classes from her, Mia, out at in Elk Grove Village.
Oh yes, wonderful instructor.
She is. Anyway, Tallarico messed up by the Democrat playbook. He referred to trans need abortion care. He didn't say reproductive care. He said the quiet part out loud.
Yes, he did. Thank you, Peter.
Anyway, love your show. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, Peter. Thanks for calling. Let's go to John in lovely Bridgeport. Hi, John. How are you?
Hey,
like
how are you?
Yes.
Well, opening day, not too far away. But Tallarico and the trans community, listen, you're human beings, we respect you, but you need your heads examined. Number two, I would not call out Ken Paxton yet. He did a lot, and I mean a lot. He was the one that pulled or blew the whistle on how the Democrats cheated in the 2020 election and gave it to Trump. And I think he has Trump's ear more so than Cornyn does. Paxton is a strong conservative, strong family man. I would have loved to see him on the Supreme Court, but if he wants that Senate seat, Cornyn, I think you spent yourself already. Just a heads up on that. Paxton's a brilliant legal man. I think Trump is going to use him and maybe pick him.
That's why it's going to be a fight. I agree. There's going to be a fight. He's not dropping off. This is not over. And I mean, I don't know. Trump might do a deal because he does a deal, and that's what he likes to do with people like Thune. But we'll see.
All right, let's go to Michael on the South Side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Michael.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Jeannie. Thank you both for taking my call. You're absolutely right. Tallarico was no prize, but I got to tell you, it's so nice to finally see Jasmine Crockett go down. Oh, God, I got to tell you, I woke up and heard the news, and it just made the day a lot brighter. I mean, she's such a low-class and unprofessional politician that I just think, the voters sent the proper message.
Well, she was a TikToker. I mean, she wasn't a serious person, but she used to be serious. She went to one of the best private schools in St. Louis, Missouri. Then all of a sudden, she started talking street. And then all of a sudden, she was a TikTok, social media star, Instagram girl. And she thought that this was going to be a cakewalk. I mean, her face when she lost was priceless. And she was backed by Kamala Harris. She was backed by all the strong black Democrats, and she thought that she was going to win. And then Tallarico had this. I didn't even really know anything about him until that Stephen Colbert interview. He went on with Stephen Colbert. CBS said, no, you can't do this because equal time. So you have to have Jasmine Crockett on. He wouldn't. So he put it online, and that got 10 million plus views. And that's when people got to know Tallarico. But they didn't know this side of Tallarico where he's talking craziness about abortions.
So this is another part of what you do in a campaign and what Juliana Stratton has done with her F Trump ad. This is all about raising name ID by getting saying something outrageous that gets picked up, or having something hidden from the public that, oh, now I'm more enticed. I want to see it. I want to hear it. And so you raise name ID. Name ID, name ID, name ID. That is so important in an election, and Tallarico won because of that. Nobody knew quite his craziness, but what I find very interesting here is that the Democrats are having primaries, and we're going to be talking about this in the next half hour. We're going to be talking with Liz Nicholson. She's running against Samantha Steele. We're going to talk about some of the primaries going on in the state of Illinois on the Democrat side. But the Democrats are primarying each other. Mm-hmm. But you can't come across a serious one of them other than John Fetterman. And instead, their primaries are not about moving to the middle. Their primaries about moving further left, moving further progressive. that does not bode well for their party. And so I think it's great to have competition at the primary level. I think it's insane that the Democrats have not figured out which primaries fights they need to have. And that's fine with me because I'm a Republican and I want them to all go down.
That voice belongs to Jeannie Ives. I'm Amy Jacobson, filling in for Dan Proft on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it guaranteed or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms do apply.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion? That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words Micro. That's pound 250. Micro.
I'm Ben Barzita.
And I'm Matt Nadeau, founding partners of Barzita and Nadeau Wealth Management. And after more than a decade on the air, we're excited to be back with our brand new show, Money Hour Radio.
Tune in every Saturday at 1 p.m. on AM 560 as we break down retirement planning, market trends, tax reduction strategies, and our Advance and Protect investment approach.
It's sophisticated planning, independent analysis, and trusted guidance backed by over 40 years of combined experience.
Join us for Money Hour Radio, Saturdays at 1 p.m. on AM 560.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results. Done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
At Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace, dementia care isn't just what we do. It's all we do. We specialize in caring for those with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. We're on the forefront of dementia care with a barrier-free, stress-free environment, so residents can explore safely and feel at home. But what truly sets Terra Vista apart? Personalized care. We take the time to learn each resident's story, where they lived, their routines, former careers, even the names of family members. Anyone who interacts with your loved one can immediately make them feel comfortable and understood. We meet our residents right where they are. Residents stay strong and engaged with multi-sensory activities, music, art, horticulture, our beautiful 18,000 square foot outdoor space, and even a personal trainer. At Terra Vista, residents aren't defined by their dementia. We honor the whole person. Speak to an advisor or schedule a tour today at terravista.org. Again, that's terravista.org, and tell them AM 560 sent you.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 17 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, she wants to be your next Cook County Board of Review member. Liz Nicholson joins us. And she's going against Samantha Steele, who had the "don't you know who I am" moment after she got pulled over for a DUI and smashed into 2 cars. You're not going to want to miss this story. But now let's head into the newsroom.
Good morning. It is 39 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Authorities are warning about a new synthetic opioid called cyclophorine, which is appearing in the Chicago area. Federal drug agents say the substance can be up to 10 times more potent than fentanyl and has already been linked to at least one death involving a man from Will County who died in Chicago. Officials say the drug has been identified 3 times in the state and is difficult to detect in street drugs. Chicago's first automatic public bathroom is planned for the Wicker Park neighborhood as a part of a pilot program. The self-cleaning restroom is set to be installed at the intersection of Milwaukee Division and Ashland Avenues near the CTA Blue Line station. First Ward Alderman Daniel Espada says access to public restrooms is a frequent concern in the busy transit corridor. Some neighbors have raised concerns about safety and maintenance during a community meeting this week. News is a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship that you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com. That's SteinerHomesLTD.com. Northwest Indiana's leading home builder, Steiner Homes. Love where you live. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4 right here on AM 560. The Answer.
What did it cost to put a Bible into your hands in English? Calvary Baptist Church Tinley Park presents a powerful look back at the valiant men who gave us the Holy Bible. Make plans now to view the Bible Collection, a showcase of antique Bibles and historic works tracing the journey from the original Greek text compiled by Erasmus, Stephanus, and Beza to the English translation work of William Tyndale, leading up to the King James Version, March 15th through the 18th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. For details, visit CalvaryBaptistTinley.com.
Town Hall News, where conservative voices cut through the noise from breaking headlines to fearless opinion. We report what matters without apology, written by people who actually believe what you believe. Town Hall tells the stories the corporate press buries, from President Trump to Capitol Hill, from pivotal elections to your everyday lives. Join the movement at townhall.com. Real stories, real reporters, real conservative media.
When our parents were moving from the farm, we each got some furniture.
Ben and Arvid from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
There was one piece that still had our grandmother's name on it. It was on the back of the piece.
Written with lead pencil.
Yeah, that was the piece of furniture that all 5 of us kids wanted. Today, I tell people that ask me, like, okay, I bought this piece of heirloom furniture. Is there anything special I should do with it? Turn it around. Take a magic marker and write on that thing your name, when you bought this, where you bought it from. That piece will be cherished in your family for centuries to come.
PennyMustard.com.
In his new movie, The Dragon's Prophecy, Dinesh D'Souza brings the new Middle East into focus.
Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be somehow tied to this place?
At long last, we have peace in the Middle East.
Israel and Christians are coming together in a way they have never been before.
But is this the end of Hamas and radical Islam? The Dragon's Prophecy is powerful, prophetic, a must-see movie. Now available on Amazon, YouTube, and iTunes.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. We do have a dense fog advisory out there today, and it is a mess on the roads. The Eisenhower is completely closed inbound between St. Charles Road and the Tri-State, all because of an accident involving a semi-truck that is partially hanging off a constructed ramp. Thankfully, no injuries are reported, but all traffic is being diverted off at St. Charles Road. Electric Avenue is also closed under the Eisenhower, and that's both ways between Coolidge Avenue and Edgewood Avenue. On the outbound Eisenhower at First Avenue, there is an accident. Delays go all the way back to Austin Road. You also have a crash on the Dan Ryan inbound at Canalport Avenue, and an accident on the inbound Kennedy at Monroe Street slows you down. This report is a service of Capital One. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase with the Capital One Venture X business card. Big purchasing power means you can spend more and earn more. The Capital One Venture X business card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be cloudy with dense fog in the morning, followed by a shower or two. Fog will persist into the afternoon with a high of 45. Tonight, expect low clouds and a low of 39. Tomorrow will be cloudy and warm, breaking the record of 70 set in 2000. There will be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with breezy conditions in the afternoon and a high of 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, how could you forget this story? Good morning, Amy Jacobson here, Jeannie Eyes. We are in for Dan Proft, and we also want to remind you, The Real Story, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to noon. Listen if you haven't, and you're especially going to want to listen today at 11:35. We have an exclusive. We're going to tease this all morning, maybe tell you in the 8:35 hour
Maybe
who it is, or maybe you're just going to have to listen, but you're going to want to hear from that person. All right, how can we forget? It was November 11th, 2024. Cook County Board of Review member, there's 3 of them. She was one of them. She allegedly got drunk, got stopped for DUI, smashed into 2 cars, not only resisted arrest, people on the scene told WBEZ that she tried to flee, but her car was so badly damaged that she couldn't escape, as they said. Here it is.
She says she knows you. She said you
does
texted
know
her.
me. She's my friend.
Okay, so exit the vehicle
No,
then.
I'm not leaving the vehicle.
Ma'am, if you don't exit the vehicle, I'm going to help you to exit. And you don't want that.
You don't want that.
I
I'm
do.
an elected official.
I actually do. Elected official of what?
Cook County.
Cook County. You elected which office? What's your name?
I'm Sam.
Sam who?
Hey, Sarge, is it okay for her friend tells her to walk out, to step out?
No, she's saying she's an elected official
I
of
don't
Cook
want-
County.
I don't want to
Okay.
be on the video.
Oh.
You are on video.
You are on video.
You are
It
on
has
video,
to be on
ma'am.
video. Yes, ma'am.
So you need
I'll
to.
wait for my attorney.
Okay.
Nope, I'm waiting for my attorney.
So she's not exiting. We're gonna have to make her exit, and she is not compliant right now, as you can see.
She also did not give a breathalyzer. She also tried to and did get her license back, her driver's license back a few months later, which is BS. But she had the right attorneys to make that happen. Then she came forward saying, oh, no, this was a deep fake. I got framed by Chicago police.
I was not over the legal limit, and I was not behind the wheel, after drinking. The case is still pending, so I can't go into detail about that. But I do expect a not guilty plea. I have, it has been very well broadcasted. And it, some of it is, there's a lot of deep fakes, which is unfortunate. A lot of that, the body cam footage was, it was given to my stalker before my attorney even received it. So, it's an unfortunate situation. And I think that after it's gone through the legal process, I will be able to speak on it more.
Trying to turn herself into a victim. Obviously,
and then
she was deep faked. She has a stalker now. All these issues just to deflect.
Yeah, and she
from
doubled
her
down
crime
with Marianne Ahern.
So you were not drunk?
I was not. No, absolutely not.
The police officer reported an open bottle of red wine.
And the video footage that I saw shows him opening the bottle of red wine.
Oh, so now she's saying that Chicago police framed her. They didn't even know who she was, and she smashed into 2 cars. and a person who told BEZ this is an elected official who very easily could have killed one of the people who could have elected her. She serves the constituents who are nearby. She said, this is insane. And that was in WBEZ, a left-leaning, publication. So it's not like they're trying to hide what happened. So now there's a move to unseat her. And that brings us to our next guest, Elizabeth Nicholson. Good morning. You are trying to take her out. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I sure can. Good morning. How are you?
Good. So Steele has one term on the Board of Review. And not only does she have this DUI arrest, she also has racked up multiple ethics violations, which cost county taxpayers $180,000 in damages for a wrongful termination lawsuit. So what is that about?
So good morning, Amy and Jeannie. Hi, this is Liz Nicholson, and I'm the candidate for Cook County Board of Review to replace Samantha Steele, the current commissioner who you just spoke about. And so first of all, I'm running for Cook County Board of Review in District 2 to unseat Steele. And I began my quest for this office probably, Amy, maybe about 4 days after I heard about the DUI arrest. And I thought it was really unbelievable. And just to add to that, she told Marianne here that she was not drunk, and that, quote, the videos I saw showed police opening the bottle of wine, as you just said, which is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone makes mistakes, but she crashed into multiple cars, tried to flee, berated and sexually harassed first responders, and the body-worn camera video was literally posted around the country. And instead of apologizing to taxpayers, she continues to lie about it. So again, I'm Liz Nicholson, and I'm so glad to be here today. So thanks for having me, Amy. It was really just a very awful event, and the fact that she wasted the time of the first responders and then continues to not take any responsibility for it is just god-awful. And the whole deep fake and opening the bottle of wine, it's like, well, which is it? Is it a deep fake, or were they, the whole thing is just so ridiculous and so awful that we would have an elected official that did that.
But then it gets even stranger because she allegedly attempted to bribe you. Can you tell us and walk us through that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So first of all, the Board of Review, District 2, there's, as you said, Amy, there's 3 commissioners, and the district goes all the way from, it's a very large district. It goes from the Loop all the way to the North Shore, west to Elk Grove Township. And what happened was, after I had declared my candidacy, many months went by. I was working very hard. I was putting out my credentials. And around maybe October of last year, I was stunned when a very, it's under investigation now, so I won't name names, but she had contacted a good friend of mine in the business of politics here in Illinois and in Cook County. And she basically said to that person, if Liz drops out of the race against me, I will give her a job in my administration. I think the first offer was $123,000, and the second one was over $130,000. So she did it first in October to an individual who, by the way, did verify that before it was in the Tribune, the story that appeared in the Tribune. The person that Samantha Steele had called verified that indeed occurred. So she did that in October. I heard about it through the person she called. And then she actually made a second phone call to a very close friend, shall we say, and actually did it again, said to this person, if Liz drops out of the race, I will give her a job in my administration. And then again, like I said, the salary increased. So at that point, that's when I went to the the Inspector General and reported this, as you maybe all read in the Chicago Tribune. So besides this horrific DUI arrest that was just so god-awful and embarrassing and so inappropriate, she tried to bribe me to get out of the race, and I refused. And we have, like I said, reported that incident, or those 2 incidents, and it's currently under investigation now. And
but your husband has CTE. He's a former football player. So you need health insurance. And wasn't health insurance part of the conversation?
Yes. Yes. In fact, Amy, I think you had brought that up on a podcast. I remember it was yourself and Paul Vallis and some others on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And you brought up a great point, which I had thought about too, and my team was thinking about too. I have an ill husband. He played for 9 years in the NFL. We were part of the NFL concussion lawsuit. And I think you're right. I think the reason that she put out there, dangled out there the whole I could give her this job and health care in my office was because of my husband's illness, which, first of all, is just absolutely horrendous that she would bring anything like that into the equation of her bribery, basically, is what she was trying to do when she solicited these two individuals to try and get me out of the race. So by doing that, as you had mentioned, Amy and Jeannie, to let you know, it's something I've been dealing with my husband for many, many years. He was diagnosed at 54 with early dementia. It is now Alzheimer's from a career in the NFL and from all the head injuries he suffered along the way that were untreated. But for her to do that was really just so inappropriate, and so just a pattern of her ethics violations, a pattern of her thinking that as an elected official she can use her power and her office to get what she wants. So she's basically using the government office as a political landing spot, if you will, which is just absolutely inappropriate. And as you mentioned, it's been all over the news. So I'm hoping to unseat her come March 17th. So that's kind of where we're at with things. I've been working really hard throughout the district to not only put her egregious, DUI and the ethical violations out there, but to obviously put my credentials out there as well, because I'm a very good candidate for this.
Liz, let's talk about your candidacy. First of all, can you explain, because this is one of those races where nobody knows what the hell the Cook County Board of Review does. So explain very briefly what you would be doing in this position.
Sure, absolutely. So as you had mentioned, there are 3 commissioners at the Cook County Board of Review. And really what the Cook County Board of Review is there for is based on evidence and verification. We are there to correct any errors that occur on residential and commercial real estate valuations from the assessor's office. So it's the government office that is there to correct anything that has gone wrong, if you will, with your valuations or with your property tax, bill that you see, that people almost were apoplectic when they got that in the mail recently, because there were some cases where there were 133% increases in someone's property tax bill, which is insane. And of course, they were late coming out, which is terrible.
Okay,
and that's
so
something also that I hope to correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in that regard, the Cook County assessors operate different than other assessors in other parts of the state. In fact, the actual township assessors in Cook County have zero ability to affect your assessment. That all comes from Fritz Kagi and his office. And so you guys are the last stop. You're the bulwark against unfair assessments coming out of Kagi's office. So, in recent times, what has happened is he has looked at the commercial property and he has assessed them downwards because obviously the rents aren't there. There's a lot of vacancy. We have some of the highest vacancies, and that assessment or that levy has gotten pushed to residential. At the same time, you have a shortage of housing that has increased the value of housing. And so what do you intend to do here? Because you say you want to lower the property taxes for individuals, but all you can really do is correct assessments. Where do you see Fritz Kagi failing in terms of assessments?
That is a very good question. And one thing I want to put out there that's been reported, and something that is part of my platform, part of the problem is that we've got 2 different sets of data being used to begin with. So from the very get-go, you've got the assessor's office using one set of data, and then you've got the Board of Review using another set of data where some of the commissioners, like the current, like the incumbent Steele, perhaps is telling her people not to use appraisals in her, revaluation of the property, in other words, in order to correct it. So first off the bat, what I plan to do is introduce an ordinance. And this sounds very funny because you shouldn't have to introduce an ordinance to make sure that there's collaboration. But that is something I plan on doing because right now there's so much finger pointing going on. There's 2 different sets of data being used by the assessor's office and the Board of Review. So if you think about that right off the bat, if you've got one office that's making valuations based on a set of data, and then you're putting it over for corrections at our office, which is independent, which would be the Board of Review, you have a big problem right off the bat when you're using 2 different sets of data. So right there, and like you had mentioned too, there's the big issue with the blame game, where Kagi is saying that we at the Board of Review then are giving too many breaks to the commercial property owners. And it's our fault that the residential are picking up the slack for that, but that's not true. There is just so much room right now for collaboration for both offices to get their act together and go off the same data sets, which is not happening right now. And I want to introduce an ordinance on that to make sure that we are collaborating and at least using the same set of data from each office to each office. And there's just so many properties right now that the current assessor doesn't have on the rolls, which is really causing a big issue. There's a big room, for putting those properties back on the rolls in order to get this whole process straight.
Well, this should be a fairly easy lift for you, considering that according to your own bio, that you are a respected and seasoned campaign advisor in Illinois, and that you led the political and fundraising efforts for over a decade in the Illinois State Senate, securing the Democrat supermajorities, and that this enabled the passage of marriage equality, enshrined abortion protections, ensured the passage of workers' rights amendment, and it ensured that you, apparently because of your fundraising efforts, you were able to secure the Illinois State Supreme Court, maintain the Democratic majority. That entire race, though, was funded by Don Harmon and J.B. Pritzker, by the way, and that's how they got that funding mechanism there. That's how those women won those 2 seats. So, you have so much power now because you helped fund the Democrat majorities, and this is according to your own website here. So you should be able to get any ordinance passed that you want to, and in fact, you should be able to get assessment reform writ large across the entire state by using your political, friendships to make sure that people do have a fair assessment.
Well, yeah, I would say that one thing that I am good at is after years of experience, I'm 58 years old. I've been working in this industry for a very long time. And I've also got a lot of experience, like I said, dealing with other issues. Like I deal with the whole NFL concussion lawsuit, and I deal with a whole group of people with different interests. But I think we've got to get our act together here in Cook County and at least get the property tax bills out on time. And the fact is, right now, everybody's pointing fingers at one another, and they're not even speaking to each other. At the Board of Review right now, the 2 commissioners, Rogers and Carnes, both of whom endorsed me, they don't even speak to Steele. So can you imagine in an office where you've got already the animosity and the differences between the assessor and the Board of Review, and then within the Board of Review, they're not even all speaking together. They're not on the same page about what's best for the taxpayers of Cook County. So it's a big issue, and I think with my past experience, it's something that I look forward to rolling up my sleeves and tackling this issue of let's get our act together, because right now, besides Commissioner Steele's huge ethical and personal problems, we've got a big mess on our hands with taxpayers, both residential and commercial, fleeing Cook County because of this mess and because of the property tax mess. And
because of Democrat supermajorities that have allowed this nonsense to continue on. In 2014, when the Sears Tower sold, Willis Tower, whatever, it sold at 42% of the assessed value, and that property was represented. And in fact, the top 12 sales all were at an average of 42% of their property tax, of their actual market value. And 7 of those 12 properties were represented by Mike Madigan's legal firm. We have a whole hot mess. And I hope, Liz, you are on board to solve that and finally make this a fair system, because people are getting screwed over.
You know what? I can tell you that I am very much a very fair, reasonable person with common sense. And I've worked for years trying to get people to work together for the good of the taxpayers. And I'm so focused right now on running a very lean and a very good campaign to get into office, because we've got to roll up our sleeves and get the work done. And it's a mess here in Cook County. So I want to do this, and I so appreciate talking to both of you this morning and to your listeners. I really do.
Liz, we appreciate Liz Nicholson running for Cook County Board of Review, 2nd District. Yes, she's a Democrat, but thank you for coming on, because a lot of people in your party are so fearful of this show that they won't even call in. So we appreciate your time. Good luck with your race. Your signs are all over the neighborhood, and I can tell you that.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. And I just want to do a good job for all of the taxpayers in Cook County. That is what my mission is, and that is what I will do. So I really appreciate being on here.
Thanks, Liz. Okay? And she joined us on AM 560, The Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Your home or business has storm damage and you have an insurance claim.
Call Crestcom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters. Today, insurance companies are notorious for offering way too little money to repair damage to your home or commercial building due to wind, hail, tornado, floods, or fire. Crosscom works for you, not the insurance company. As licensed adjusters, Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. After they get you the fair insurance company result, Crosscom can start doing your repairs. Crosscom is a full construction and restoration company that will get your property back to its pre-loss condition, getting your life back to normal. Roof, siding, windows, doors, fire restoration, Crosscom does it all.
Call Crosscom.
Licensed in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin.
This is Dan Leitz with Crosscom. We share your conservative and Christian values. Let us handle everything. It all starts with a call.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
If you owe the IRS or state $10,000 or more, the stress can feel crushing. You may even worry about getting misled by big national tax companies that care more about quotas than people. That's exactly why ClearPath Tax Strategies exists. We're local, not some 800 number 3 states away. We're an independent team of experienced CPAs and attorneys who share your conservative values and believe that every tax problem has a real solution, one that works for you. We will fight to get you the lowest possible settlement, but nothing changes until you take the first step. Schedule your free consultation today and finally understand your options. Call 262-786-4442. That's 262-786-4442 or visit cptstrategies.com. ClearPath Tax Strategies. No judgment, just results. Take back your future and get the IRS and state off your back.
Raise your hand if chronic pain is making you feel old, older than you actually are. Ongoing pain can really turn your golden years upside down. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics patients right here in Chicagoland are getting relief. And it didn't happen in an operating room. Dr. Caravelli and QC Kinetics medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon, Patrick's golf game is on fire again, and Andrea's back in her garden. These are real QC Kinetics patients. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation and pain eases, and the sooner joint damage slows down. So don't wait. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments and tell them I sent you when you do. Your visit and consultation free. Call now, 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Call QC Kinetics at 312-827-6261.
AM 560, The Answer.
And about Liz Nicholson and who she is, listen, you've got bad or you've got worse. Samantha Steele's worse. So go ahead and vote for her. I wouldn't think that she's going to be able to get anything done for you. So there you go. But do not pull a Democrat ballot just to vote for Liz.
All right. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, no more hiding transgender students from their parents. We'll get the latest with Corey DeAngelis. And today, cloudy, dense fog with a shower or two, a high of 45 degrees. Tomorrow, cloudy with a couple of thunderstorms, high of 71. It's 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Iran is targeting Israel today over and over. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Just moments ago,
Missiles were soaring through the skies of Israel. We watched here as air defense systems were shooting down the incoming fire.
Fox's Trey Yingst has a front row seat to the war in Tel Aviv.
This was the 5th round of incoming Iranian missiles since the middle of the night, sending the population here into bomb shelters.
Iran has also been going after neighboring countries. There have been U.S. facilities there, like Qatar, again targeted. As Iran's foreign minister warned on social media, the U.S. will bitterly regret sinking a warship in international waters with a torpedo. And as the U.S. and Israel keep attacking Iran,
we're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
President Trump has conceded the U.S. military is being used a little bit more than he expected when he returned to office for his second term. But he says Operation Epic Fury is going so well because in strike after strike, multiple layers of regime leadership are being killed, to the point where every time there's a leader that comes up and wants to sort of take control, that person ends up dead.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House, concerned about fuel shipping being halted in the region as oil prices rising. Here in the U.S., the price at the gas pump has surged up 26 cents in 3 days. Democrats keep trying to limit the president in Iran, pushing a war powers resolution.
Our founders did not want to place the immense power over whether or not to go to war in the hands of just one individual.
But Senator Gary Peters and the Democrats lost. Republicans blocked the resolution. Senator Tim Sheehy tells Fox,
"This is no question Iran started this conflict. We are going to finish it, and all Americans should be happy about that."
Today, the House will vote on the resolution. Congress will also vote on Homeland Security funding, which Democrats have blocked for nearly 3 weeks, demanding immigration enforcement reforms. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 39 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Some Illinois municipal leaders are pushing for the ability to impose local gas taxes. Jim Talamonte reports.
Mount Vernon Mayor John Lewis says only non-home rule communities in Cook County, or those with a population more than 100,000, can impose local motor fuel taxes without a referendum.
This creates an uneven system that limits financial flexibility for many of our small communities.
Lewis said House Bill 1283 provides for non-home rule communities to impose a tax capped at 3 cents a gallon.
This legislation preserves local control by allowing municipal officers, officials who are accountable to their residents, to determine whether to adopt the tax.
I'm Jim Talamonte.
A former Chicago police officer is going to prison after he was convicted of defrauding a low-income food program. Hassan Abdulatif was sentenced yesterday to 4 years behind bars. Prosecutors say the defendant illegally billed $14 million to WIC while he owned a local convenience store. He's also been ordered to pay $8 million in restitution. And a vertical farm operating inside a Loop office building on LaSalle Drive is being called the first of its kind in a downtown office tower in the U.S. The indoor farm grows herbs and vegetables in a 500-square-foot hydroponic space using LED lighting instead of sunlight. Company leaders say Chicago's large amount of vacant downtown office space could make the city a hub for similar farms. The company also plans a much larger operation in a former Roosevelt University building on South State Street. News is a service of American Beam and Steel, structural repair licensed contractors for your home and business. Search for American Beam and Steel online to schedule your consultation directly with the owner, Mark. American Beam and Steel. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Catch more money with leading economist Steve Moore.
I'm excited about America. I think things are going really well. I think we've turned a corner here. I think Biden economics is well behind us now. This is a miracle what's going on here. If anything, it's better than I thought it would be. So many good things happening in the economy. Low inflation, low unemployment rate, consumer confidence up, business confidence up. All of the indicators are pointing north right now.
It's More Money, Saturday at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 17 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Safety. It's so important at your industrial facility. You need to keep your personnel safe and meet OSHA requirements. One problem with your ladders, platforms, or safety guards, and you could be facing costly fines. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to keep your employees safe.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. As a business owner, I realize the importance of keeping my employees safe, and I'm here to offer my expertise. Vans Industrial is a specialty contractor uniquely equipped to design, fabricate, and install safety equipment, including walkways, handrails, stairways, and machinery guards. Our Vans Industrial team can inspect existing systems, engineer solutions, fabricate quality goods, and install them with trained pros, all making a safer environment for your employees.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS Industrial.com. Quality craftsmanship since 1964.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hackberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Still doing great on the Edens, 15 minutes both ways from Lake Cook to Montrose, and 27 minutes in both directions on the Kennedy from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange. We are stop and go inbound on the Eisenhower from Wolf to the old post office, 28 minutes. Outbound is 17. The Stevenson is 42 minutes inbound from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore, 23 on the reverse side, and jammed in the local lanes on the Dan Ryan from 47th Street to the Stevenson with an accident right before the Stevenson, so it's 26 minutes from 95th to the Burn Interchange. Outbound is 11, and the express lanes also are slow as you head towards the Stevenson. Outbound side of I-57, that slows down with an accident blocking the left lane at the CalSag channel. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Profit University and the Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be cloudy with dense fog in the morning, followed by a shower or two. Fog will persist into the afternoon with a high of 45. Tonight, expect low clouds and a low of 39. Tomorrow will be cloudy and warm, breaking the record of 70 set in 2000. There will be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with breezy conditions in the afternoon and a high of 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
A win for parents. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here, Jeannie Ives from The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson, 11 a.m. to noon, but we're honored today to be filling in for Dan Proft, who's, I'm going to guess, maybe he's out golfing, Jeannie. Do you have tabs on him?
I do not have tabs on him.
Oh, okay, fine.
Nope.
But there's a big victory yesterday. The Supreme Court ruled that California cannot hide children's transgenders and transitions from their parents. It was a landmark decision. It protects parental rights nationwide. And the person that led the lawsuit was Aaron Friday, and her daughter became a boy without her knowledge.
No. You cannot become a boy.
Okay. Well, they tried to transition
Yes. Okay, thank
her daughter into a boy during school, and then they called Child Protective Services against her when she didn't want the transition to take place. She's feeling victorious this morning.
Well, the school districts have been taking this position that they know better than parents, and that is ending. That ends today. The school districts were extremely aggressive against parents. They were manipulating records so that kids' names would switch automatically back and forth when they were communicating with the parent versus the child. They were taking on the position that parents are presumed to be abusive. So if a child says, I don't want my parents to know, the school would say, okay, we're not going to let the parents know. So they were casting aside parents in a very crucial decision on how a child should be raised.
Yeah, I hate to break it to the school districts and these kids, but just because your parents say, no, this is not good for you, does not make them abusive. Aaron Friday, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, joining us now is Corey DeAngelis. He is a school choice advocate, and President Trump has called him a fighter for parental rights. He joined the Heritage Foundation recently. He's also a senior fellow at the Americans for Fair Treatment and a visiting fellow at the American Institute for Economic Research, president of the Educational Freedom Institute, a contributor to Real Truth Media, and so much more. We're honored to have him on as our guest to talk about this and a lot of other things happening in education. And I appreciate the fact that he pays attention to what is happening in Illinois and in Chicago specifically. Mr. DeAngelis, thanks so much for joining us on on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, let's just start here with the Supreme Court case. I mean, obviously, this shouldn't have even been an issue, but you've got all these woke schools, and including the fact that in the state of Illinois in 2019, one of the first things Governor Pritzker did was he had his state board of education put out guidelines literally saying that schools should keep from parents the social transitioning of any child. That is still the official policy. We're getting a little bit of common sense, but don't we have a lot further to go?
Yeah, that's totally insane. And after the Supreme Court victory, hopefully parents start to crack down on the schools in Illinois as well. I mean, you see these politicians in Illinois controlled by the teachers unions just painting parents with a broad brush, saying that they're all abusers. If they're going to, have a conversation with their kid, all of a sudden there's going to be abuse happening without, looking, they're throwing stones and they live in a glass house without looking at all the problems in the public school system. If you just Google every morning 2 words, teacher arrested, you'll see that there's a lot of abuse that happens in the government school system too. So these kind of accusations can go both ways. And I would say that keeping secrets from parents is more likely to cause harm to the child. One, because their parent won't be involved in the decisions about their medical, their medical decisions and their educational decisions. But then you might kind of strengthen a relationship between someone at the school and the child who is not their parent. And that could lead to problems further down the line. And the federal judge who initially struck down this insane California law to keep secrets from parents in schools was by the name of Roger Benitez, and he called these types of secrecy policies a trifecta of harm. Obviously, it hurts the parents because it infringes upon their 14th Amendment right to direct the upbringing of their children, but also hurts the teachers because the teachers have, they might want to tell the parents. They might object to the new student pronouns at school. They might want to lead the child towards reality as opposed to this delusion at a young age. And it also, the trifecta comes in where it hurts the kid as well because this could lead them down a path of transitioning and having sex change surgeries or puberty blockers, things that could cause irreversible damage to these kids. And I mean, we're even seeing out in New York, there was a case that a grand jury found the surgeon and the child psychologist liable for $2 million, which, it's a good start, but that we won even in New York should put these institutions on watch. And just because we won at the Supreme Court, parents, you need to be vigilant and watch your school, because I think you're still going to have rogue actors within the system try to subvert the will of the people and the Supreme Court.
That's what I was going to ask you, because Democrats don't like to follow the law if they don't agree with it. So you don't think that the secrecy is going to stop?
Well, I think even in the courts, there's going to be some ping pong going back and forth. We see this all the time. I mean, we won a school choice case in 2020, went up to the Supreme Court from Montana, where they said, don't exclude any religious schools from a school choice program. That would be a violation of the 14th Amendment and people's right to freely exercise their religion, the First Amendment as well. And then Maine goes and says, we have a school choice program. We're going to continue to exclude these religious schools, not because they are religious, but it's because they're doing religious things. And so they split hairs. It's a distinction without a difference. We saw this with the Mahmoud decision last year out of Montgomery County, Maryland. This allows parents to pull their kids out of gender ideology instruction. We won at the Supreme Court last year. And then just this a few months ago, there was another case coming out of I think it was Massachusetts, where it was a kindergartner, and they said, well, this kid wanted to get out of gender, this gender course, but we're gonna say this was gender identity that it had to deal with. It wasn't gender ideology. And so you see how they just continue to play these games. And so at the end of the day, the parents need to be involved with their kids' education. They need to make sure they're asking their children serious questions every day to make sure that what's going on at school does not cross any boundaries. And I'd say school choice would be a great solution too, because if they get a whiff of these things happening at school, they should be able to take their kids' money somewhere else. I mean, in Chicago, you have a school that's 97% empty. They're spending almost $100,000 a kid. What if you gave parents just $20,000 of that? I mean, they'd be able to find a much better alternative that's actually aligned with their values and doesn't disrespect them and doesn't try to keep secrets from them.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, and I appreciate, again, your attention on Illinois and Chicago in particularly. First of all, the report that you retweeted, or I'm sorry, posted again on X. Can't use Twitter anymore, right? You can't say that?
I still say they tweeted. Put it on social media.
Put it on social media. But I mean, you retweeted Ted Dabrowski's work. Ted is running for governor of the state of Illinois, and he put this out a while ago. Back in 25, Chicago Public Schools, 20 most empty public schools. And this is why most people around the country are now picking up the fact that this is a complete waste of money. So these are useless schools. They need to go away. But the other thing that you also shared on your X is that Illinois Democrat Senator Garcia Guzman filed a bill prohibiting the state from opting into Trump's new school choice program. She just received $72,500 from the Chicago Teachers Union. She's received over $519,000 from the Teachers Union since October of 2023. And here she is filing SB 3966, prohibiting school choice from coming in to the state of Illinois. And don't you think, honestly, school choice solves all this? Hey, you want your kids in a some sort of indoctrination center that teaches genders. You have more than one gender at the kindergarten level, and then goes on to teach how to have sex at in the sixth grade, and then goes on to teach in the high school the benefits of abortion. If you want to have that type of school, okay, fine, send your kid to that school. But school choice solves all these issues.
Exactly, it's the only way forward through freedom as opposed to force. And because then, in the current system, you basically have a minority inflicting their will on the majority. You have a special interest group, namely the teachers union, controlling the minds of other people's children. And when it comes to school choice, we're just saying, yeah, you do you raise your kid how you want to raise your kid, and I'm going to raise my kid how I want to raise my kid. And that's the only way you get out of this one-size-fits-all disaster where you have people fighting with one another to capture the minds of each other's children, and that's not a society that we should promote. We should promote a society that respects each other's right to direct the upbringing of their children. And so, this follow the money case is pretty interesting too. The senator received $73,000 almost on February 2nd and February 6th. And then on February 6th, lo and behold, she files a bill from that supports what the teachers union wants to block school choice again in Illinois. And the unions are freaking out about this right now because J.B. Pritzker, when he ran for election in 2022, I think he lied, but he tried to have his cake and eat it too. He said that he supported the state level school choice tax credit program, but then didn't lift a finger to save it. And he was able before to say, well, the House and Senate's their fault. He even told, I believe, the Chicago Tribune in 2023 that he would sign a bill to save the program if it got to his desk. But he probably knew it was never going to get to his desk. But now Trump has this new program. It puts the decision squarely in the hands of the governor. And so, J.B. Pritzker, you can't point the finger at anybody else anymore. And this program doesn't touch a single penny of local public school funding. It encourages new charitable donations to come into the state of Illinois. And if you don't opt in, because anybody can donate to these scholarships wherever you live, that would guarantee basically that money would flow out of Illinois because people would be donating scholarships to states that do opt in, like Florida and Texas. So you'd be Governor Jared Polis, a Democrat, opted in, and he said it was a no-brainer decision. And he said it was, quote, I would be crazy not to opt in because you'd be shooting yourself in the foot if you didn't. So the Chicago Teachers Union is doing a full court press, and this bill is basically a way for lawmakers to try to take away that decision from the governor. If J.B. Pritzker vetoes it, they would need an override of, I believe, a 3/5 majority in Illinois to override the veto.
Well, practically everybody agrees that education is the key to opportunity in the future, and that it's imperative that our school children can read and do math at grade level when they graduate from 12 years of public education. That doesn't seem to be the case, but I wanted to bring this up to you, and maybe you want to investigate this on your own too. Mm-hmm. But John Saylor in the Wall Street Journal had Mellon's radical prisoner education, and he writes, at the Stateville Corrections Center, a maximum security prison in Illinois, which Governor J.B. Pritzker ordered closed last year for unrelated reasons, a group of professors offered courses for inmates funded by the Mellon Foundation. One course, Research, Writing, and Mass Incarceration, began with a workshop run by Bill Ayers, a co-founder of the Weather Underground, a Marxist terrorist group responsible for dozens of bombings in the U.S. in the 1970s. Of course, we know of Bill Ayers because he's a retired pensioner from the University of Illinois in Chicago, where we're paying he's probably got close to a $200,000 pension at this point. But here's the deal. The article also says one goal of the Mellon-supported course at Statesville is building a movement that centers abolition, meaning the abolition of prisons, according to the proposal I required via records request. The proposal for the Mellon-supported project at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign says it assumes an explicitly abolitionist stance and has hosted discussions on prison abolition. And this is what they're trying to do. And oh, by the way, guess what? In Illinois, there's a House bill and a Senate bill, and it creates the Prison Education Fund. It provides money in the Prison Education Fund to be used by community colleges and the Board of Higher Education to make grants to prison education programs that award associate degrees or bachelor's degrees to those currently incarcerated students. We're going to fund this.
It's totally insane. It's like they're trying to breed radicals within the prison system who, they may be susceptible to this kind of Marxism. And so, there's another way to reduce the prison population, which would be to have school choice.
Yes.
I actually did a study on this in Milwaukee where my first peer-reviewed study, or one of the first, almost a decade ago now, showed that kids that got to use the scholarship program in Milwaukee, after about the time that they became about 30 years of age, I tracked them over time, my co-author and I, and we found a large reduction in crime. I mean, it shouldn't be all that surprising that if you get a better education, you're more likely to get a job, you're less likely to end in the criminal justice system. And you know what? Stacey Davis Gates, the president of the Chicago Teachers Union, who's now on leave for whatever reason, I guess, she sent her kid to private school, and then she called school choice racist a few years ago, and then we found out she's sending her kid to a private school. Total hypocrisy. We should extend those opportunities to others, too.
Well, Corey DeAngelis, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and your expertise. He is host of Education Frontlines for the Real Truth Media, a research fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and president of Educational Freedom Institute, and he joined us on AM 560, The Answer.
Stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Raise your hand if chronic pain is making you feel old, older than you actually are. Ongoing pain can really turn your golden years upside down. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics patients right here in Chicagoland are getting relief. And it didn't happen in an operating room. Dr. Caravelli and QC Kinetics medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon. Patrick's golf game is on fire again, and Andrea's back in her garden. These are real QC Kinetics patients. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation and pain eases, and the sooner joint damage slows down. So don't wait. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments, and tell them I sent you when you do. Your visit and consultation free. Call now, 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Call QC Kinetics at 312-827-6261.
I'm Rob Cole, owner of Cole Digital in Frankfurt, specialists in custom audio video design and installation. We sell premium TVs from Sony, Samsung, and LG for less money than the big box stores, and premium speakers from Paradigm, Monitor, and B&W. Our installers will mount the TV, hide the wires, and program a single easy-to-use remote, or whole home audio, with in-ceiling speakers in each room controlled by an app on your smartphone. We are known for our spectacular home theaters with a laser projector, 120-inch screen, and incredible surround sound, and leather seats, a Starfield ceiling, and acoustic treatments. Tour our Smart Living Design Center in Frankfurt, the largest in America, 15,000 square feet, 5 themed theaters, and 30 rooms of audio-video lighting and great design ideas. We're a conservative-owned local company that gives back to our community. Visit us at coledigital.com, that's K-O-L-E digital.com, or call us at 815-469-2000, and we'll bring the showroom to you. Cole Digital, what smart living is all about.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it guaranteed or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms do apply.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion? That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words micro. That's pound 250, micro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, so much to discuss. Yes. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, $16 trillion down the drain. We'll begin there with Stephen Moore. It's the greatest financial scandal in world history, according to Stephen Moore. So we'll start there with him. And then later, you got to give it to one Chicago-based airlines. They are doing the right thing. We'll tell you what it is. But now let's head into the newsroom to get the headlines.
Good morning. It is 39 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Police say 3 people were arrested after a group smashed their way into a gaming cafe in South Suburban Midlothian yesterday. Officers were called around 4:30 yesterday morning to Anna's Gaming Cafe on a report of a burglary in progress. Investigators say 6 people used sledgehammers to break into gaming machines before they fled. Police say the suspects crashed their vehicle nearby and half the group was taken into custody. A new survey says Illinois has the highest tax rates in the country. According to a Wallet Hub report, the land of Lincoln has the highest state and local taxes and the highest annual tax rates on median households, coming in at 53% higher than the U.S. average. The lowest tax rates were found in Alaska, Delaware, and Wyoming. And a new mobile dental clinic from University of Chicago Medicine is rolling into Chicago's South Side. The vehicle is designed to help older people who have difficulty seeing a dentist or don't have insurance. Patients can get an oral exam, x-rays, dentures, root canals, and other basic services. News is a service of American Beam and Steel, structural repair licensed contractors for your home and business. Search for American Beam and Steel online to schedule your consultation directly with the owner, Mark, American Beam and Steel. Check of the Roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Sponsored in part by JeffBuysYourHouse.com and by Center Guard Plumbing. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Sean Thompson. One of the things I remember about spring is listening to my grandfather walk around and say, opening day, it's just around the corner. He used to think those were the 2 sweetest words you could say during springtime because he was a big baseball fan. And for most people, that's the case. It's one of the greatest American traditions each spring. But you know, there's another great American tradition that isn't far off, and that's called Tax Day. Well, opening day and Tax Day show up around the same time each year. We don't look at them in the same way. Well, you're optimistic about your favorite team. When's the last time you felt optimistic about stroking a big check to Uncle Sam? It doesn't have to be that way, and all you have to do is call Tom Fortino, the people at Alpha Wealth Group, who believe that baseball is a seasonal game, but tax planning goes on year-round. So if you don't want to write a big check in your retirement, and you don't want to have your Social Security or Medicare premiums affected by it, call Tom Fortino and the people at Alpha Wealth Group for their complimentary retirement roadmap. Call them at 630-864-6711. That number again is 630-864-6711 or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
Well, the experts did their best with this season's flu vaccine, but the virus mutated and the vaccine could not keep up. But here is the truth. The most powerful defense against viruses isn't something man-made. It is the God-given immune system that you were born with. And the best immune system booster that I, Scott Jennings, know of is Virago. Virago. It is a liquid immune enhancement supplement featuring 23 potent nutraceuticals working synergistically to enhance your immune system against assaults. Trust the design that God gave you and strengthen your body's immune system with Virago, the ultimate immune enhancement cocktail. Order it online today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code Jennings to save 30%. Myvirago.com. Coupon code Jennings saves you 30%.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hackberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. We are still shut down on the Eisenhower inbound between St. Charles Road and the Tri-State, all because of an accident involving a semi-truck that is hanging off of an overpass. No injuries, but the truck does have to be offloaded. Delays go all the way back to York Road. We also have Electric Avenue shut down both ways under the Eisenhower between Coolidge Avenue and Edgewood Avenue, and everyone is being diverted off of the roadway at St. Charles Road. 39 49 in, 46 out on the Kennedy from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange, 45 in, 28 out on the Stevenson from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore, 25 in, 12 out on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, jam-packed northbound. Lakeshore Drive between Bryn Mawr Avenue and Hollywood Avenue. This report is sponsored by WeatherBug. Get the fastest local alerts and accurate 24/7 forecasts with WeatherBug. It's easy to use and provides real-time customizable alerts so the weather never takes you by surprise. Plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store now. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be cloudy with dense fog in the morning, followed by a shower or two. Fog will persist in the afternoon with a high of 45. Tonight, expect low clouds and a low of 39. Tomorrow will be cloudy and warm, breaking the record of 70 set in 2000. There will be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with breezy conditions in the afternoon. The high will reach 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Another government giveaway gone awry. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Jeannie Ives. We do the real story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. Yes, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to noon. And at 11:35 this morning, you are not going to miss it. We have a real story exclusive, our first one, from somebody you're going to want to hear from, and you're going to want to hear their story. So be sure to
I think it's our second exclusive.
I mean, this is our second exclusive.
It's a great one.
What was our first one?
Same topic, different state.
Okay, so we can't tell. Shh, it's a secret. This is what you call a tease. So,
okay.
All right, thank you so much, and hopefully we will hear from you, see you at 11:35, because you can watch us on the web at 560theanswer.com, and you can always communicate with us. That's for sure via text or the phone line at 312-642-5600. Let's bring him straight on. Stephen Moore, he wrote an article about $16 trillion down the drain and the greatest financial scandal in world history. Is this hyperbole or is this fact?
Me, hyperbole? Never. Great to be with you, ladies. Amy, great to hear your voice again. I miss you. So, look, this is for Americans to decide for themselves, but according to some of the latest estimates, we have spent 16 trillion, not billion, 16 trillion. That is all countries in the world on climate change, which is kind of a scam. And when you think about it, what did that 16 trillion buy? What did it get for us? Well, the temperature of the planet hasn't changed. We're still using massive amounts of fossil fuels. We've learned that wind and solar power are pretty much niche forms of energy. And as economists, we like to think of a concept called opportunity cost. That is, what if we had spent that $16 trillion on maybe finding a cure for cancer, or ending malaria in African countries, or bringing, clean water and good schools to, little villages across the world in poor countries like India and Africa. Think of the payoff of that would have been 100 times greater than what we've spent on climate change. So climate change turned out to be just the green in climate change was about money. This was always about, directing money to the fanatics who promoted this policy. The good news is that spending has dramatically been reduced as we've kind of, in my opinion, we've reached peak in climate change craziness now that Donald Trump is in office.
Well, I would say when you talk about opportunity costs, how much of this $16 trillion, by the way, do you think, Al Gore got?
Well, yeah, the inconvenient truth. I mean,
how much of it is his?
He made a livelihood out of it.
No, look, seriously, you make a good point. The people who we created a climate change industrial complex around the world, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the money, Lord knows, somebody should do an audit of what actually happened to all this money. I mean, $16 trillion is massive amounts of money, and so we need to chase down the bad guys who stole money from us on this kind of false scare of. By the way, I'm not saying the climate isn't changing. Of course, the climate is changing. It's changed since the dawning of time. It's just that none of this $16 trillion did anything about that. It was just really about lining the pockets of people who were spreading this scare tactic. Incidentally, I hadn't heard much out of Al Gore for the last few years, but I just saw an interview with him, and he wasn't chasing. He's like, "Oh my God, we have to spend even more money."
Oh, so he was doubling down.
$30 trillion.
Well,
exactly.
What's he going to do now? Come back and say, "Well, I agree with Bjorn Lomborg, and I calculated the problem wrong across the globe." But how much did the Biden administration alone waste on green energy?
Oh, that's a good question. Just the United States government, in his 4 years in office, spent, by my estimates, about $400 billion. And again, let's find out where that money went. What happened with it? We know, by the way, Amy, because we used to talk about this all the time, about all the money that went to companies like Solyndra and all these. Remember, all these companies were going to be the next big thing, and about 90% of them went bankrupt. And so a lot of it just went to funding companies that never made it, and so that was money down the drain.
Well, in Illinois, they're still doubling down. There's an $8 billion plan to, add batteries to wind and solar projects, which is a totally a stupid idea. And now Governor Pritzker's talking tough about how AI units need to bring their own power. This is something that everybody has known about. And in fact, the Ratepayer Protection Plan has been what's going on. I just want to play this short clip from the cabinet meeting yesterday. This is Chris Wright talking about how we can both lower prices, lower energy costs, and continue to compete in AI. Here you go.
We had 30% electricity price rises during the Biden administration, and we shrunk our amount of available dispatchable electricity. That is a train wreck waiting to happen. And the president recognized from the start, we have to lead in AI and we have to stop electricity price rise. And those are not in contradiction. These companies are smart, they're powerful, they're strong, they can build power, partner with them. And that's exactly, all of them embraced it. All of them have spent money to these noble causes. And as we heard, a number of states that have partnered with the people on this table have announced multi-year rate freezes. Indiana's the leader now, and the first one filing for a rate reduction. But it is the partnership of these companies and a business focused on government, focused on the American people, that is the transformation. But I could not be more proud to be here.
There you go. Indiana, our slimmer, sexier sister, getting it right before us. What have you to say about this Ratepayer Protection Plan?
Well, first of all, this is a huge issue, and Trump had a big triumph yesterday, right after that press conference that you just played an excerpt from, when he met with all of the, not all of them, but many of the tech company execs and the AI company execs, and he basically said, you're going to pay your own way. In other words, if you use energy, you're going to pay for it. And of course, they should. And so they got a deal from Google and Amazon and all these companies that they're not going to cause, families to pay more for electricity to fund the data centers and the AI. And that's a very smart solution, because we want to, the United States completely dominated the internet age over the last 25 years. No country even came close to our Googles and our Apples and our Amazons and our NVIDIAs and our Microsofts. And so we want to do the same thing as we move into the robotics and AI age. And to do that, we're going to need a lot of energy. And I was just on Fox News this morning, right before I came on your show, and I made the point, look, you're not going to be able to, as our energy demands double and triple, you're not going to get that energy from, windmills and switchgrass. We're going to need nuclear power plants. We're going to need natural gas. We're going to need clean coal. In some, you can use solar power as a niche form of energy. I don't think solar works too well in Chicago. It may work in Phoenix. But so incidentally, and going back to that $16 trillion, if we had just spent 1/10 that amount just building nuclear power plants, which, by the way, emit no greenhouse gases in the environment. Can either of you ladies explain to me why the climate change fanatics were against nuclear power? Nuclear has no greenhouse gas emissions.
Right. Well, because it's nuclear. If it was labeled something else, we'd be fine.
Exactly.
I'm not kidding you. It's all about
No, you're right.
the marketing of it.
Labeling, right.
Yes, but
You
here,
should
I was
never
going to
call
tell
it-
you, Stephen Moore. Okay, so I have a very conservative Republican friend who lives in Wheeling, listens to the show. I'm sure he's listening right now while he's driving to school. But he has solar panels on his roof. His electric bills are $30 to $40 a month. That's something, and that's Chicago. But then there's certain neighborhoods where you can't put solar panels on your roof.
Amy, that's because
You're not allowed to?
That's because he's getting paid for excess solar.
No, they gave him a subsidy to put them on the roof, but they're not subsidizing his monthly bills. Just and he could call in true if you don't believe, because you're giving me the stink eye, Jeannie eyes. I don't like the stink eye, but that's I mean, it's something.
Okay, but here's
I can't.
here's the
So
point, though.
yes, sir.
Yeah, let me just say something about that. I'm not against solar power. I'm not against wind power. I'm not against any of these forms of energy. What I'm against is taxpayers paying for it. And so all we've heard for 40 years is about solar and wind are the next big thing. Okay, why do they need so much tax dollars then? We keep pumping more and more and more money into it. By the way, solar and wind power would probably be further along technologically if the government had never gotten involved in the first place. So, look, if this gentleman, this household you're talking about, is saving money by put solar powers on the roof, all power to them, but I just don't want to pay for it.
Well, okay, so now you've got the Iran situation, and people are worried about, $72 barrel oil.
$90.
Yeah, it's going up and up. So this is another reason why drill, baby, drill was the right thing for Trump to go for.
Yeah, exactly. No, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, I'm old enough. I know I'm older than the two of you, but when I grew up in Chicago, I mean, I remember gas lines. I remember odd even license plates when you could fill up your gas tank, and we'd load up in the station wagon back then and be 12th in line at 7 o'clock in the morning to get our gas fill up. My point is, back then the Middle Eastern countries and OPEC had a blade to our neck. They had us in a stranglehold. Now, thanks to our kind of drill, baby, drill strategy, because of fracking and the shale revolution, we produce more oil and gas than any other country in the world, and we are much, much less reliant on the Middle East than we used to be. So that's a very positive development.
Stephen Moore, do you remember when Jimmy Carter, because we were worried about, the high gas monthly bills, he would say, just put on another sweater if you're cold.
The cardigan sweaters. Yeah, I looked good in a cardigan sweater back then.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure you were fetching.
That was the very famous Melee speech, which is we just have to lower our expectations, and then luckily God gave America Ronald Reagan, and we turned everything around. But it is interesting though that in the Middle East is just not. The price of oil would have gone up to about $100 a barrel if we weren't producing more here at home.
Good. All right, Stephen Moore, we're going to have to leave it there. Noted economist and author of
All right, I missed
the
you guys.
Trump economic. I'm not done giving your resume. The Trump economic miracle and the plan to unleash prosperity again.
There you go.
Thanks so much.
It is a miracle.
It is.
Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Right. Thank you, friend. And he joined us on AM 560, The Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
There's one thing I really want to say to Donald Trump. If you come for my people, you come through me.
That was Pritzker's challenge to President Trump. But who are Pritzker's people? They're the more than 1,700 illegal alien predators he helped escape from ICE. They're the illegal aliens whose health care, rent, and college tuition you pay for. You can't afford to stay because Pritzker makes you pay for his people. Well, I have a message for you, Governor. I'll be coming for you and going through you. Your days and the days of sanctuary living for your people are over. I'm Ted Dabrowski, your conservative candidate for governor, and I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on March 17th. Paid for by Ted for Illinois.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly with nationwide 5G because Cricket is on the AT&T network. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Think your IT systems couldn't get any better? Prove it. Take the Access One $10,000 challenge. For companies with 25 to 500 employees, we'll conduct a free, confidential risk assessment based on NIST or CIS regulations. If your systems and processes are 100% compliant and we can't find a single improvement opportunity based on the regulations, we'll write you a check for $10,000. For over 30 years, Access One has helped Chicagoland businesses strengthen cybersecurity, streamline IT operations, and reduce costs through managed IT and cloud solutions. Ready to take the challenge? Schedule your free, confidential risk assessment. Visit accessoneInc.com/challenge or call 800-654-1555. Certain terms and conditions apply. See details online.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results, done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Raise your hand if chronic pain is making you feel old, older than you actually are. Ongoing pain can really turn your golden years upside down. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics patients right here in Chicagoland are getting relief. And it didn't happen in an operating room. Dr. Caravelli and QC Kinetics medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon. Patrick's golf game is on fire again, and Andrea's back in her garden. These are real QC Kinetics patients. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation and pain eases, and the sooner joint damage slows down. So don't wait. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments, and tell them I sent you when you do. Your visit and consultation free. Call now, 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Call QC Kinetics at 312-827-6261.
Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, boy. All right. Stalker Sean Thompson. You can't get enough of the ladies, can you?
This is why I never called the blondes from the suburbs back on Saturday when I was done with them on Friday. Let me explain welfare. Okay? So let's take your rich Caucasoid friend in his house in your upper end of the ghetto, Chicago.
No. Yeah, it's in Wheeling. It's a middle-class suburb,
Even better. So
Be
now
nice.
I know
He's a conservative. He's a conservative.
All right, I don't care who he is. If you take welfare, you're one kind of person to me. See, everybody pays. Whether he paid or not, we paid. And the cost for solar is $70,000. That's why you never buy a house where the guy paid, because it's normally a mortgage that he doesn't know about. So let's say he saves $300 a month. Let's just say, for argument's sake, how many $300 a month, $3,600 a year does it take to equal $70,000? He's on welfare. Now, he's on welfare because he feels noble about it. He's an eco guy. Ooh, I'm green. You're just another welfare roach. And the white people who do it, they clip it at $70,000 a cost to feel good about themselves and tip the glass at cocktail parties. And if your friend doesn't agree with me, then show me the math. It's a mathematical boondoggle. And that's why all of the self-loathing people go, oh, I'm not on welfare. I'm a good person. You're on welfare, rich welfare. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to ask him how much was it government subsidized putting those solar panels on your roof? I will ask him.
I'm going to say it's almost all, because they'll call you up and they'll say, is your electrical bill over $100? And honestly, at that point, I thought ours was. And I said, no. Like, oh, well, I said, why? Well, we want to offer you to put solar panels on your roof. It'll cost you nothing. Like, really? What kind of scam is this?
It's even more diabolical when they would sweet talk the people into signing up for a mortgage payment that they didn't realize transferred with the property, which is why those properties, if you were a real estate, you do not bring your people to those properties, because it transfers that second mortgage. It is a scam. It doesn't work. How many times you need it? You save in the front, you lose in the back. That's why you don't play 3-card Monte in New York when you get off the bus.
I love 3-card Monte.
There you go. That's why I never called you back on Saturday, and you keep chasing me around.
Well, look, I went to, when I was a state rep, IKEA had put a whole bunch of solar panels on top of the roof in Bolingbrook, and they had us up there for a state tour. Now, I knew what I knew, and nobody else knew what I knew. And so I asked the IKEA rep, I said, what's your payback on this? They're like, oh, it's 5 years. Well, most people in business want an ROI of 2 years or less on any project that they would put on. I said, no. What's your ROI if you didn't have it all subsidized? They're like, oh, it's 70. Like 20 years. And then you have to replace all the panels. Nobody, 20 years. Right. It is all a scam, and they know
it's like the windmills. The windmills don't break even for 23 years. They last 21.
Well, how often?
Fracking failure. That's why you get the $16 trillion. How else do you think it's $16 trillion? Each of those industries, are you listening to me? Each one is a fraud, a financial fraud. Each one of them. What do you think of that?
All right. Well, I'm going to call my friend later and ask about when are your solar panels need to be replaced? Is that going to be, are you going to receive government subsidies for it? How much did you receive on the front end? How much did you have to take out a second mortgage?
The windmills, the windmills are even a bigger scam.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And do me a favor. It's like looking at cleavage at the living room. Show me. Don't tell me. Show me the cleavage. Show it to me.
Oh, boy. Sean,
all right.
Walking HR nightmare, but I love you.
Thank you very much.
Well, what I want is I want to see the contracts that these farmers are getting to put solar panels on their acreage. They are getting such rich contracts, you can't even make it up. They're 40-year contracts. They're getting, signing bonuses of $500,000. They're getting screening. They're getting all this money, and we're paying for it. Ratepayers are paying for it.
Popping up everywhere. These solar farms are. Now, you just used to see the windmills on I-55. Now you're seeing solar farms everywhere.
Because they're so enormously beneficial to the farmers.
But those windmills, like half the time, they're not even churning. And I can't even. I wonder what those government subsidies are for those.
Well, there's NDAs on them. That's the scam of it all, too. They have non-disclosure agreements, so they don't reveal how much they're getting paid. But it's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 an acre.
Wow.
You walk away, you go to Florida, you don't put any seed in the ground, you don't fertilize, you don't harvest, you don't plant, you don't do anything, and you've created a hot mess for taxpayers to subsidize.
All right. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Ed Morrissey from hotair.com and townhall.com will be joining us. Governor Waltz and A.G. Ellison were testifying on Minnesota fraud cases yesterday. Did you see it? Oh, Tim Walz doesn't know how to do math. It was pretty. He doesn't even know how many children live in his state. He was a complete embarrassment. And later, all she had to do was say no. There is talk this morning that President Trump may be replacing Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. It is now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It is day 6 of the war with Iran. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and as Israel continues to go on the attack, Iran keeps countering.
Tel Aviv was under fire overnight as Iran is still trying to get off more ballistic missile fire. There have been 5 separate attacks over the past 12 or so hours.
Missiles that Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv were shot down as Iran also threatens the U.S.
And I want to read you a post that Iran's foreign minister put on X after the news of an American torpedo took down an Iranian frigate off the coast of Sri Lanka. And he says in part, "Mark my words, the U.S. will come to bitterly regret precedent it has set." And so there is still a tough talk, despite the fact that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, along with dozens of other leadership positions in Iran, have been taken out.
War Secretary Pete Hegseth will go to Central Command headquarters in Tampa today, and President Trump gives the operation on a scale of 1 to 10 a 15.
We're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far.
At the White House, Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports.
Right now, U.S. boots on the ground are not part of the plan, but the White House isn't ruling out the possibility. The more pressing need is securing the Strait of Hormuz to protect global energy flows. If necessary, they say the U.S. Navy will escort oil tankers through the strait.
The price of oil is rising again today, and at the gas pump, AAA's national average for regular has surged up 26 cents in 3 days, now $3.25 per gallon. Some Americans are still stuck in the region trying to get out, but another 2,000 flights are canceled again today.
The State Department is also chartering flights with U.S. citizens on it to try to get them back here to the United States. The first one left yesterday in the evening time. Since the weekend, the State Department says more than 17,500 U.S. citizens have safely returned to the United States. And there's another option that some Americans who can afford it are turning to, and that's chartering their own flights.
Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 39 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. The pilot has died following a small plane crash last night in unincorporated Deerfield. Authorities say the plane struck the roof of a townhome and crashed into the backyard. The pilot had planned to land at Chicago's executive airport. Heavy fog was reported in the area at the time of last night's crash, but it's unknown if that was the cause of the accident. There were no injuries reported to anyone on the ground. Illinois lawmakers want to rebrand fentanyl deaths as poisoning instead of overdose, but coroners say the change would force them to lie on death certificates. Katrina Barker has more.
Under the bill, each fentanyl-related death would have to be reported separately to the Illinois Department of Public Health, and the department would be required to publish these fatalities distinctly in its monthly overdose reports rather than grouping them with other drug overdoses. The bill's sponsor, State Senator Sue Rezin, says the change is intended to reduce stigma and give families a more accurate way to describe the deaths of their loved ones who unknowingly ingested fentanyl-laced substances.
Too many angel families, they feel forced into silence.
But coroners are warning that the bill veers into semantic territory and could conflict with factual reporting.
And former Presidents Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and Joe Biden are said to be among those paying tribute to the late Reverend Jesse Jackson tomorrow. Other dignitaries expected include Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Jennifer Hudson and gospel singers B.B. Winans and Pastor Marvin Winans are scheduled to perform at the homegoing service, which is being called the People's Celebration. The celebration of life will be held at the House of Hope at 752 East 114th Street in Chicago. Doors open to the public at 9 a.m. Services are set to start at 11 a.m. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes, but time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
BJ's Wholesale says sales and membership rose in the recent quarter. The warehouse chain says it was helped by enhancing its assortment and expanding its footprint. Shares are up more than 1%. Kroger is also reporting higher sales. Online shopping, digital sales topped $16 billion in the quarter. The grocery giant's brands also include Ralph's, Fred Meyer, City Market, Dillon's, and others. Kroger's shares are up more than 2%. Target says it plans to open more than 30 locations this year. It will also remodel more than 130 stores and add next-day delivery in more than 20 metro areas. Shares of American, Delta, United, and other airlines are losing ground this morning, though more flights are now taking off from the Middle East. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Alex Marlowe explains the good news.
We've got numbers that are just beyond belief here. The best core CPI since March 2021, which means we've erased the inflation from the Biden inflation, which is so great. Prices are down for used cars, gasoline, medicine, and electricity. And the market thinks this isn't just one good report, but a sign that inflation is low enough that the Fed can start cutting rates again, which is huge.
The Alex Marlowe Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings inviting you to join me on the unforgettable Gulf of America cruise happening this November 2026. Imagine it, turquoise waters, white sand, beaches, incredible food, and insightful conversations about the future of our great country. Mike Gallagher and I will dive into the issues shaping America as we cruise through some of the most stunning destinations while honoring the 250th anniversary of our nation. Text cruise to 94878 or visit scottjenningsshow.com and click the cruise banner to sign up today.
She's unafraid and unapologetic. She's Laura Trump, and she's shaking things up on the Right View podcast.
We're the side with the mean stuff? Are you guys kidding? You call us Nazis. You call us fascists. You call Donald Trump Hitler from the left. Really? We're the side that's the problem. You're out assaulting ICE agents every chance you possibly get.
Subscribe to the Right View podcast with Laura Trump on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Still shut down on the Ike inbound between St. Charles Road and the Tri-State because of an accident involving a semi-truck that is hanging off of an overpass. Everyone is being diverted off of the roadway at St. Charles Road, and Electric Avenue is also closed underneath the Eisenhower. On the outbound Eisenhower at St. Charles Road, there's also an accident. Got a crash on the northbound Tri-State at Cicero Avenue on the shoulder. Jam-packed northbound Lakeshore Drive between Foster Avenue and Hollywood Avenue. 18 in, 25 out on the Edens from Lake Cook to Montrose. 46 in, 57 out on the Kennedy from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange. The express lanes inbound are jammed from the Edens to Ohio Street. Inbound Stevenson from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore. 57 minutes in, 37 out. 36 in, 18 out on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange. News traffic is a service of American Beam and Steel Structural Repair Licensed Contractors for your home and business. Search for American Beam and Steel online to schedule your consultation directly with the owner, Mark. American Beam and Steel. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be cloudy with dense fog in the morning, followed by a shower or two. Fog will persist into the afternoon with the high of 45. Tonight, expect low clouds and a low of 39. Tomorrow will be cloudy and warm, breaking the record of 70 set in 2000. There will be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with breezy conditions in the afternoon and a high of 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
All she had to do was say no. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here, and Jeannie Ives were in for Dan Proft. Be sure to listen to us Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to noon for The Real Story. We're going to have an exclusive this morning at 11:35 that you're not going to want to miss. But yesterday, 2 days in a row of testimony from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. It got a little dicey yesterday and tad bit uncomfortable when this question was asked of her while her husband was sitting right behind her.
So, Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
and
my
ma'am,
time.
one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in the federal government.
So, reclaiming
and
my
as an
time,
advisor,
Secretary, it is
has
okay for
no,
you to be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
be
question.
making any
It is
decisions.
okay for you to
has
be
no
offended
authority
by the
to
question.
be making
But it is
decisions
also
and
a
putting
real
in
question.
positions. So what I would say
and
to
you should be able to
is
answer
that
the
what
question
we do at the Department of Homeland
clearly
Security every single
and
day.
without
So
any
clearly that was
hesitation.
going nowhere.
That was Nancy Mace, correct?
No,
Grilling her?
that was a Democrat.
That was a Democrat.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Republican Senator John Kennedy, I actually happened to watch this. He pressed her on whether the president had personally approved a $220 million advertising effort that featured the DHS secretary, talking about, if you're here illegally, self-deport. I thought the commercials were effective. I didn't know that it cost $220 million to produce those commercials. And then also Senator Tom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina, he called on her to resign and then threatened to slow Senate business until his questions were answered. So we're learning this morning from Punchbowl News and from Mediaite that President Trump has privately asked Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill whether or not he should fire Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem after these bruising 2 days of congressional hearings. With more on that and much more, let's welcome back to the program our very good friend, Ed Morrissey, editor of hotair.com. Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Good morning. Great to be with you.
So would it be a sign of weakness if President Trump got rid of a cabinet member?
I guess these days it is. Joe Biden refused to do it for the same reason. Trump doesn't want to do it. I suspect that part of the reason why he might be reluctant is just because he doesn't want to pick a fight with the Senate over confirmation of a replacement. I think with Noem, though, you could probably get a little bit of a reset, especially if you put somebody like Tom Homan. If he nominated Tom Homan, would seem to me to be the logical replacement if you were going to replace Noem, because he basically replaced Noem in dealing with the situation in Minnesota and did a good job. Was demonstrably improved that situation and has some traction among Democrats who've worked with him in the past. So I think Noem is sort of in that same situation that Pam Bondi's in, where she's made missteps, but she's also done some pretty good work. And I think Trump is loath to toss people to the wolves just to escape some criticism. But that really is part of the job of a cabinet secretary, is you are expendable. And when there is a need for a political reset, and this is a lesson that Joe Biden or whoever was running the White House during Joe Biden's regency never learned, which is that you can actually get a reset by changing a cabinet secretary. They should have gotten rid of Alejandro Mayorkas in the first year, for instance, and they never did. It would have made, at least it would have given them some breathing room. And I think that Trump understood that in Minnesota, and that's the reason why he sent Tom Homan there and basically put him above Noem in that situation, was to get that sort of a reset. Maybe he's looking at that now and saying, maybe this is what we need. We can then free up DHS funding, and we don't have this food fight for the rest of the year. We can focus on other things.
Well, it's a curiosity that he picked Noem anyway. Honestly, I think that Tom Homan obviously was probably much more qualified. He had served multiple administrations, and in fact, he had gotten a presidential award from Obama for his service in deportations. And so I don't know if they thought at that time that Homan couldn't be confirmed, and so they pushed through Noem. But even Noem had to be confirmed. She wasn't a fan. Democrats aren't a fan of her. So if she becomes a liability, look, I don't think that the president's, he knows how to fire people. Let's put it that way. However, it would be a kind of a distraction from his bigger mission right now, which is taking out the Iranian regime and putting that to rest.
Well, a couple things about that. First off, Noem endorsed him, and cabinet secretary picks are usually, political rewards, and that was significant. It was a significant endorsement, and she helped him on the campaign trail. Tom Homan, it wasn't at that level at that time. He was somebody who was known, but not with that type of, political heft. He is now, and might make a good replacement at this point in time. You mentioned that Trump knows how to fire people. He was actually much more inclined to do that in the first term than he's been so far in the second. I don't think he's fired anybody so far in this term, and maybe he needs to brush off that line from The Apprentice here before the end of this year, when he knows he still has a Republican majority in the Senate. That's another thing, is if you're going to make those types of changes, you probably need to do it this year.
All right. So besides Kristi Noem testifying in one hearing, at another hearing down the hall, you had Governor Walz and A.G. Ellison. They were answering questions about Minnesota fraud cases. And here's a wonderful exchange with Tampon Tim.
How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2017, Governor?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, Congresswoman.
Did you prepare for this hearing today? Did you do any preparation
I take
for this hearing
Congress
today?
seriously.
And you've seen the numbers about autism fraud in Minnesota. So we're going to do some Minnesota math with you today, okay? Are you ready? How much money was spent on 2017 for autism in Minnesota? How much?
I don't know. I wasn't the governor.
Okay. Did you not just say that you prepared for this hearing today? $1 million, okay? A quick Google search or using your AI could tell you $1 million was spent. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me.
Were you governor in 2024?
I was, but I'm not the
Okay,
head
so
of
your
HHS.
excuse before that you didn't know what 2017 autism numbers were because you were not governor, and today you can't answer the numbers about 2024 as governor, and you still said you prepared for this hearing today. It's unbelievable. $343 million was spent in 2024. What percent increase is that from $1 million to $343 million? What
Basically,
percentage
she just
increase is
asked him,
that?
and then she asked him how many children live in the state of Minnesota. He has no idea. Then she's like, do you know how many people live in the state of Minnesota? He said 5.7 million. But the bottom line is, they brought up this Somalia fraudster who was exposed by Nick Shirley, and he pled guilty to stealing $6 million in autism funds. His name's Yusuf. He's just 22 years old. He sent $200,000 of that to Kenya. He bought a semi-truck. He gave kickbacks to family members who participated in this scheme. Kids in his family, he paid money to pretend and to fill out forms saying they were autistic, and they never served one autistic child. He even said that he'd never met an autistic child.
He's never met an autistic child?
That's
Ever?
what he said. Yeah, Yusuf, the 22-year-old who was in charge of this, Star Autism Center in St. Cloud and other places.
That seems like maybe a disqualification. I mean, maybe he's doing it wrong. But the whole thing is fraud. It's obvious fraud. And this gets back to the Quality Leering Center and all the rest of this nonsense that Nick Shirley was able to dig up simply by pointing a camera at places. I mean, it wasn't like it was difficult to spot. Nobody was paying attention in Minnesota because the fraud was benefiting everyone. It was benefiting the DFL, the Democrats in Minnesota. They're called DFL. It was benefiting, Ilhan Omar and Betsy Betsy McCollum and all the other radical left Democrats that are elected in the Twin Cities metro area. And it was basically a way to launder money to everybody using federal funds. And, I don't know that Tim Walz is going to be ever criminally prosecuted for this, but, the congressional hearing yesterday was part of a lovely American tradition that we like to call the public beating. And at least we got that much on Tim Walz, and that's what this was. It was a public beating. And Keith Ellison's smarter than Tim Walz, so he'll avoid probably almost all of these consequences. Maybe not the political ones, but criminal and civil liabilities. But I don't know. Tim Walz is pretty dumb, and he might blunder his way into criminal liability at some point here. But there's clearly a massive effort to protect this level of fraud within Minnesota. And the sad part of this is that I don't know that that Minnesota's voters are strong enough outside of that metro area that was benefiting from it to provide the proper level of accountability for it. That's the thing that kind of concerns me about Minnesota, is that the Twin Cities metro area is just so strongly supportive of the DFL no matter what, that I don't know that voters in Minnesota can really get accountability for this.
So, Ed, if you don't mind, let's turn to the Iranian issue, because you've been writing about it recently, and I find it interesting that you noted that progressive groups are preparing to primary any House Democrat who votes against a war powers resolution constraining the Trump administration from carrying out military operations in Iran. And so what do you think is going to happen here to those Democrats? Will they actually be primaried? Is this actually going to turn in Trump's favor at the end of the day if, we're out of there in 4 or 5 weeks and we've completely decapitated the entire theocracy there?
Well, I think it's sort of a moot point now, because the Senate, in its infinite wisdom, or Senate Democrats in their infinite wisdom, forced the issue yesterday and ended up losing, which is basically a tacit approval for the war. I suspect that House Democrats are simply going to drop this because it's not going to move forward.
But that vote's supposed to happen today in the House, so you think they're not even going to take it at this point?
If they were smart, they wouldn't take it, because there's no point to it. I mean, the Senate's already voted on this, and they've shot it down. So even if the House approved it, which is unlikely to happen, it's not going to go anywhere because the Senate's already shot it down. It's dead in the water. There's no point in putting your vote on the line for this. They should just drop it. I don't know that they will. But they really should just drop it at this point, because it's done. The thing about the War Powers Act and any sort of actions under the War Powers Act is that presidents can veto them. So it's really not enough. They can pass on simple majorities in both chambers because it's a privileged. It'd be a privileged bill in the Senate. It's the way that the War Powers Act is constructed, so filibusters don't apply. But the problem is that presidents can veto them. They're basically legislation. And if the president vetoes them, you have to have 2/3 to overturn it. And they're not going to get 2/3. It's a political message. If it had passed, it might have put some pressure on Trump to wrap things up fast. But the fact that they took the vote and the vote failed means that basically they've approved it for 60 days, and Trump doesn't really have anything to worry about now. Politically speaking, it backfired on Tim Kaine. It basically endorsed what Trump is doing. That's what that vote does. And for the House Democrats to go out on a limb for no good reason whatsoever now is really dumb.
Well, when would they not want to go out on the limb and make a political statement with a vote? They do this all the time, and you've got a number of Democrats in contentious primaries. Here in Illinois, you've got Raja Krishnamurthy, 8th Congressional District, running against Robin Kelly, 2nd Congressional District, and they certainly want to show their opposition to Trump in this war, and they would probably love the vote.
I think that they might, again, because they represent districts that are very, very deeply Democrat, right? But they're putting a lot of their moderate, well, I don't know how many moderates there are anymore, but at least some of the moderates.
Zero.
Are some moderates out there, yes.
Probably true. There are a handful of moderates out there, but more importantly, I think, is that they're trying to compete in moderate districts that Republicans now control. And if this war goes well, and they're out there being defeatists about this, that's a heck of a limb to have climbed out on, just to see yourself saw it off over a dumb vote that wasn't going to do anything. Performative politics is dangerous, electorally dangerous, and I think that's what this is.
All right. Ed Morrissey, good friend of the show. Thank you so much for your expertise and for spending time with us this morning. He's managing editor for hotair.com, and he joined us on AM 560, The Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 17 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A Social Security update. 70 million Americans collect Social Security benefits today, and millions more will join soon. Now, a new study finds 70% of Americans don't get the full benefits they deserve. But recipients can use simple strategies to boost Social Security benefits by as much as $188,000 over a lifetime. Social Security expert Michael Allen says it's true and reveals 5 key strategies to increase your benefits. It's all in his free special report. Newsmax calls the report your best guide for bigger Social Security benefits. Whether you're getting benefits or soon will, you need the Social Security report. Get it free. Call 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. We'll text it to you right away, along with President Trump's act cutting your Social Security taxes. Call now, 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. Text and data rates may apply.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it guaranteed or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms do apply.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion. That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words micro. That's pound 250, micro.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, Lou Holtz has died, but many of his quotes will live forever. Remember as a kid watching, well, not as a kid, but as a young adult watching him on the football field, legendary football coach who led Notre Dame Fighting Irish to their last national championship. Guess what year that was? You think that 1988.
Jeepers.
That was the last time the Fighting Irish had a national championship. He'd been in failing health, and his family announced that he'd been moved to hospice care in Orlando, Florida, where he passed away yesterday at the age of 89. He had an accomplished career. He had an accomplished life. He was such a good man, and his impact on Notre Dame will go beyond the football field. And every player that ever got the privilege of being coached by him say that they're a better man because of it. So what is your favorite quote? Because Lou Holtz, he had a bunch of quotes. Play like a champion, when they hit that on the way out to the football field. That was his quote, play like a champion. That was something that they put on the wall to, hype up the players before they took the gridiron. What I like, don't tell your problems to people. 80% don't care, and the other 20% are glad you have them.
Well, he certainly understood people, right? Oh, my goodness.
That's so true.
Who knows what a nod this was to, but he said right before a big game, God doesn't care who wins tomorrow, but his mother does. Well, because, we football mothers, and I'm a football mother.
So am I.
We care about who wins.
And how were you in the stands? Be honest.
Nervous because I just didn't want my kid to get injured, or any other kid, actually.
I know.
I
know. It's everyone. Football's different than watching basketball, different than swim meets. When you're there, you just think, I don't want anybody to break a leg, get a concussion, or die. Right. So, but were you a loud cheerer, or were you one of the let's go?
The person who embarrasses the women beside me, the other mothers beside me were much louder, so I just kind of watched the game.
Yeah. What position did your sons play?
They were all on the defense, so defensive end. The Daily Herald called my son the terror on the edge. He was on the Wheaton Warrenville South Championship team in 2009.
Oh, look at you, fancy
nobody
people
cares
over there.
about this anyway.
No.
But I mean,
people do care about this. Trust me.
Football mattered, and Lou Holtz was quite the coach.
I know. One thing that he said, though, this is my favorite quote, because I wanted to be a coach because of him. I saw him he's so inspiring. I want to inspire kids, but back then women weren't coaches, but now we are. You have to have something to do, someone to love, something to believe in, and something to look forward to. That is so true. Just in life, not even if you're a coach, but just in life, when you wake up every day, you have to have something to do. That's why when people retire, so many of them, they don't know what to do because they're lost without their job. But find something to do. You should always have someone to love, even if it's a dog or a cat. You have to have something to believe in, and you always have to have something to look forward to. So God bless you, Lou Holtz, and hopefully Notre Dame will bounce back and win a national championship. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Gordon Chang is going to be joining us. Are the Iranian strikes all about China? We'll start there with him, but now let's check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 39 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Legislation is being proposed that would help protect customers from bad energy deals. If approved, House Bill 4313 would prevent predatory pricing by alternative electricity and gas suppliers. That measure would regulate supply rates, require a customer signature before automatic contract renewals, and require suppliers to provide more accurate data to the Illinois Commerce Commission. The Cook County State's Attorney's Office has refused to dismiss charges against a Chicago woman who claims she killed her boyfriend in self-defense. Keisha Golden was pregnant when she stabbed Calvin Sidney during a violent argument back in 2022. Attorney Julie Kohler says Golden did everything over the past 3 years that was asked of her, including counseling, classes, and reporting every single day to pretrial service. Golden's lawyers say she previously miscarried after being physically abused by Sidney. Another status hearing is scheduled for April 7th. News is a service of American Beam and Steel structural repair licensed contractors for your home and business. Search for American Beam and Steel online to schedule your consultation directly with the owner, Mark. American Beam and Steel. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Larry Elder sees a glaring difference.
The numbers of deportations under Obama, they were greater than under Trump. The alleged abuses by ICE also took place under Obama, except only more so. So everything you say about what ICE is doing, people like the ACLU and other human rights organizations complained was taking place under Obama. The difference is the media did not care.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Perhaps you're a collector. Or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
If you're over 65 and struggling with knee pain, Joint Relief Institute offers a guaranteed way to treat it. It's non-surgical and often covered by Medicare and private insurance. It's JRI's joint arthritis treatment, knee lubrication placement that's so accurate it's 100% guaranteed and can relieve your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 five-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
Taking a look at the roads in the Team Hackberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. The fog is really causing a big mess out there today. We are shut down on the Ike inbound from St. Charles Road to the Tri-State. Delays go back to York Road. There's a semi-truck partially hanging off of the exit ramp. You are being diverted off of the roadway at St. Charles Road, and Electric Avenue is also shut down underneath the Eisenhower. And now we have a flipped over car on the Jane Addams eastbound right before Higgins Road. Two right lanes are blocked. Jam-packed northbound Lakeshore Drive between Foster Avenue and Hollywood Avenue. 53 in, 49 out on the Kennedy from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange. The Stevenson is 57 in, 46 out from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore. This report is sponsored by True Green. True Green, the easiest way to get a golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at truegreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be cloudy with dense fog in the morning, followed by a shower or two. Fog will persist in the afternoon with a high of 45. Tonight, expect low clouds and a low of 39. Tomorrow will be cloudy and warm, breaking the record of 70 set in 2000. There will be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with breezy conditions in the afternoon. The high will reach 71. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Well, as you just heard from the traffic report, there's a lot of dicey situations on the roadways because of the extreme fog. Please drive carefully. There's a semi-truck that is dangling over a bridge on 290. I mean, I can't even look at the footage because, well, I can't even imagine. So be careful out there. We are Amy Jacobson and Jeannie Ives, hosts of The Real Story, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to noon. Programming note at 11:35 today. I know we've been teasing it all morning, but you're going to want to hear from a local who made national news. He gave an interview to a digital outlet, but he has never spoken. We've never heard his voice, and it's a situation that you're going to want to hear, and that's at 11:35 today. If you miss it, you can always download the AM 560 app and go to podcasts and click on The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson, and it is there. So we're filling in today for Dan. John Anthony will be in tomorrow, and Dan will be back on Monday.
Yeah, so listen, this is an important part of what's happening in the Iranian war, and that is essentially this Iranian strike all about China. A number of people have been talking about it, writing about it. I know the Free Press, let's see here. Jeepers, what is her name? Sorry. Oh yes, okay. Zineb Rioba, she wrote about it just recently, talking about how China's essentially, after the Israeli strikes earlier in June of 2025, has been trying to put Iran back together, shipping them over 1,000 tons of sodium perchlorate, a key missile propellant ingredient. And in fact, they need to keep their relationship with Iran going as China buys more than 80% of Iran's crude oil exports. Anyway, is this all about China? I don't think so. I think there's more to it, but certainly there's an aspect to what is happening in Iran that will affect China. And there's nobody better to discuss this than Gordon Chang. Of course, he is the author of The Coming Collapse of China and numerous other books. And he talks about this extensively, knows China back and forth, and he joins us right now. Gordon, thank you so much for coming on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
So what about this? Is the Iran strike all about China?
It's a lot about China because Iran would not be able to disrupt the international scene were it not for China. And it's not just that China bought 87.2% of Iran's exports of crude oil last year, in other words, financing the regime, but it was also diplomatic support, propaganda support, weapons, as you just talked about. Iran has a nuclear weapons program because of China. It's actually a Chinese program that's been transplanted onto Iranian soil. So you look at this, and Iran very much is a creature of China. I mean, the Iranians don't think they're proxies of China, but the Chinese think the Iranians are their proxies.
So are we getting a twofer here then? We take out Iran, and then we also really decapitate China to some degree.
Yes. And that is also true of Venezuela. It's going to be true of Cuba. President Trump has been going after China's friends around the world. And that is, and this is something that Xi Jinping, I'm sure, is apoplectic about, because Xi Jinping has been trying to encircle the United States. Now we have President Trump encircling the Chinese. This is Maoist foreign policy. It goes back to 1949 when Mao won the Chinese Civil War by encircling the cities from the countryside. Xi Jinping has always thought that we're the city. Now Trump says, look, I'm going to employ the same tactic against you. And by the way, Trump's tactic is working, and Xi Jinping's tactic is not working.
Well, last summer when we attacked Iran, my son was actually attached to the USS Nimitz. And it moved from the South China Seas into the Persian Gulf in support of, I forgot whatever aircraft carrier was there as well. And now we've got a situation where we have two aircraft carriers sitting in the Persian Gulf. The Nimitz, by the way, is getting mothballed. So that one's going out of commission. And is this an opportune time for perhaps China to strike Taiwan while we are engaged in Iran? Or is that not going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen, but it is an opportune time because you have the Abraham Lincoln in the Persian Gulf. You have the Gerald Ford in the Mediterranean. Both are very much involved in these operations. And we're sort of bare in East Asia. The good news, though, is that the Chinese military is in a disarray because of all the purges. There's just nobody at the top anymore. So, for instance, the Communist Party's Central Military Commission, which controls the Chinese military, normally has 7 members, now has only 2. Xi Jinping, who's not a military officer, plus a general who's a commissar and not an operational officer. So the chain of command has been severed. Chinese generals and admirals are more concerned about the guy in the office next door than they are about the United States. So we've got a little bit of breathing room, but maybe not too much.
Well, I have a few questions for you. Have they considered China an ally?
The Iranians would like the Chinese to do more for them, but in the sense when Iran looks around the world, China has been the most important of their diplomatic relations. The Russians just are not able to help because they're fully involved in Ukraine, and we just talked about all the ways that Beijing has been supporting the Ayatollahs up to now. We got to remember that in the run-up to the strikes, there were Chinese cargo planes, a lot of them landing on Iranian soil. We don't know exactly what was in them, but we can be sure that it were weapons, probably advanced radars, all sorts of things that the Iranians have from China. So, Iran may not have friends, but to the extent that it does, or did, because the Chinese are not helping the Iranians right now. I mean, to the extent it is, it's Beijing.
Right. But here's the deal. I mean, we all know that, China is dependent on Iranian oil. They were dependent on Venezuelan oil. What's going to happen? Because that supply is going to be disrupted, if not cut off.
A couple things. First of all, we've seen price spikes in China right now. Gasoline is up 11.0% in the last few days. Diesel is up 13.5%. The National Development and Reform Commission of China has ordered refiners not to enter into any new contracts for the export of refined products. As a matter of fact, has told them to cancel contracts they already have if they can get away with it. We also can guess that the Chinese are going to buy Russian oil, and the Russians are not going to sell it at the cheaper prices that they once did because they know the Chinese are desperate. And China may have to draw down its strategic petroleum reserve. Though Xi Jinping, I'm sure, doesn't want to do that. That's, depending on who you listen to, between 100 and 140 days of import cover. So while it's a large reserve, it's not as big as the Chinese want it to be.
Okay, so I still think that obviously this attack on Iran was essentially preventative deterrence, as I believe Victor Davis Hanson classified it. It was about our interests, our national interests, and not having a nuclear-armed theocracy that's radical Islamist. I think that was really the reason. Now, you look at the China situation here. I mean, some people may want to speculate that this was a backdoor way to get better negotiations with China on trade or whatnot. That may be secondary after the fallout of them not having the oil that they need to run their economy and other stuff. But what's your opinion of all of that? Is this just really a backdoor way for Trump to get better trade negotiations?
Well, I mean, that's a result. We'll have a much stronger bargaining position, but that's not the reason why Trump did this. There's a lot of talk about, this was sort of like a preventative issue. But we got to remember that this was also imminent. And it was imminent because the Iranian president at the end of December publicly said that his country was in a state of war with the United States. Right after that, we see all these Chinese cargo planes land on Iranian soil. We have to speculate what was in them. And we also know that not only did Iran boast of having highly enriched uranium, but they also had the components for a North Korean ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, the Hwasong-15. A Hwasong-15 has a range of 12,000 kilometers, which means it could hit about just every square inch of American soil. So this was something that had to be done. The Iranians made it very clear that they considered us to be an enemy. They said they were in a war, and they were gearing up. So I think President Trump did absolutely the right thing. We can characterize it any way we want, but it was absolutely necessary.
Well, he's taken out one part of the axis of evil and hitting the other part of the axis of evil, and for that, I'm grateful. But I'm actually really grateful for your analysis, especially what you said at the end there, because so many people want to debate whether or not this was an eminent concern, and you just put that all to rest. Gordon Chang, thank you so much for joining us. You can follow him on X at Gordon G. Chang. I encourage people to do that because you're going to be a lot more informed.
Yeah, again, it's Gordon G. Chang, C-H-A-N-G, author of Plan Red, China's project to destroy America and the Great U.S.-China Tech War. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Chang. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and you guys stay safe. Chicago is a little safer today because of what President Trump did, and so is the rest of the United States.
Yes, and I wish our Democratic leaders could acknowledge that, especially in Chicago, because they think it's because of their works why crime is down and homicides are down. So thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you.
And he joined us at AM 560, The Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
Let me tell you, Chicago gets cold, very cold, and they love me in Chicago. The fake news isn't reporting it, but it's true. And you can't have your furnace fail in Chicago. That's no good.
That's when you should call Air Right Heating and Cooling.
The technicians, beautiful people. You're freezing, everybody's freezing. They show up fast, know what they're doing, and get the heat back on quickly.
Air Right Heating and Cooling offers 24/7 service throughout Chicagoland.
A broken furnace in Chicago is like living in Greenland. And believe me, I know Greenland. Very cold, lots of ice. These guys install the best furnaces. Frankly, it's not even close. Even Rosie O'Donnell would say I'm right, but she won't.
For fast, reliable heating service, trust Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you and save $56 off any service.
Nobody's ever done anything like that. Unbelievable.
Visit them at air-right.com. That's AIR-RITE.com. Doing it right since 1959.
Let me ask you something. Does your garage floor look bad? Covered in salt, cracked, or stained from the winter's brutal blast? Well, I've got a fix for you so you can start enjoying your garage this spring. Contact my good friends at Level 10 Coatings. Level 10 brought my garage floor from dirty and gross to showroom, shiny new in just one day. Level 10 Coatings can do the same for you. A quick and easy fix, permanent durable solution. Guaranteed to never chip or peel. Get it done now so you can enjoy your garage this spring and summer. Schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, for $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com. Level10coatings.com or call 855-510-2628. Again, that's 855-510-2628. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Don't miss cutting-edge coverage of daily news on the Alex Marlowe podcast.
For so many years, we thought we would see terror. Is it a Muslim? Now we're starting to think, is it a trans person? And we've indulged all of this. It's completely our fault, self-inflicted wound. We've run so hard away from the science and towards insanity. They'll never stop. They will never be done. They will always try to take more. They will always try to create more chaos.
Subscribe to the Alex Marlowe podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we have a response. We have some time for some phone calls, 312-642-5600. And we're talking about a response that we've been waiting for ever since Cook County Commissioner of the 15th or 12th District, I can't remember, but he's also running for Congress. And he's endorsed by the Chicago Teachers Union. He's running in the 8th Congressional, Raja's old seat, because Raja's running for Senate. Hold on, because Raja's running for Senate. And CTU sponsor is backing him. And also the mayor of Elk Grove, Mr. Johnson, is backing him. So it's very strange. And the only reason why we ever brought this up is because he's leading anti-ICE student walkouts. And he said, and I've called him. I called District 214. I said, who's leading this? And she said, we don't know. I said, well, what groups inside the school? Because teachers aren't involved. They cannot go outside. And teachers have not been present for these walkouts. There have been walkouts at Prospect, Elk Grove, Conant, Maine West, and even Grove Junior High. So this is and then Palatine, and this is what happened in Palatine. Just listen. The kids went nuts. They ran into the busy street. They started jumping on cars, hitting vans with Mexican flags, the base of the flagpole. And a kid got nicked by a vehicle. That's what my sources told me, that a kid was hit. Listen to this madness. They're like animals. Did you see the video, Jeannie?
I saw the video, and then I FOIA'd District 211 to find out what the correspondence has been between the school board, the administration, and other teachers and schools about this very incident. Because I want to know what they're telling folks about this. Are they keeping it quiet? And, of course, I have not had a response to my FOIA yet. And I did that February 26th, so they're late.
Maybe we should FOIA communications between Kevin Morrison and students, because it's very creepy. He's hanging out with children. And I asked District 214, how does he have access to our kids? No background check needed because he isn't inside the school. They say most kids were on their lunch break, but they can't stop a child from leaving the school. To join a grown man who's not married, I don't know. It's just so weird. So I've been calling his office, emailing his campaign to get an answer. And he finally came out via social media with an answer. I don't know if this is a non-answer, but tell me what you think.
Today at Maine West, I joined my 4th student-led walkout protesting against ICE. And I want to debunk a couple theories. I've seen the comment sections to our posts, and I can confirm these rallies are 100% organized by students. Now, this one also is absurd. I have been speaking firsthand with students who are telling me that they cannot believe they even have to walk out of class at this moment. And I had other students telling me, I got to get back because I can't miss this class. So it showed me their commitment to actually standing up and having their voices be heard. Now, this one I find hilarious. Now, I am grateful that youth are following my campaign and direct messaging me, because that's how I've learned about each one of these student-led walkouts. Now, I just got to say, I am so inspired by our youth in this moment for using their First Amendment rights of free speech and putting pressure and fighting back against ICE and this administration. They have seen firsthand what ICE has done in their communities, and now they're taking a stand. And as someone who has always showed up for our communities, I am proud to be showing up for our students in this moment. I'm Kevin Morrison. Join us.
Blah, blah, blah. It sounds like he's gargling glass. Let's go to Matthew on the north side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Matthew.
Hey, good morning. I was at the Mount Prospect trustee meeting a few months ago, and the trustees are supposed to be nonpartisan, and Morrison showed up, and he was threatening all of them with being deplatformed, even running the whole trustee into a Democrat realm, because they're not going to be supporting ICE not being on their properties. So they rejected it. So this guy I think is someone we should take seriously and combat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The other choices for the 8th for the Republican side is Jennifer Davis and Mark Rice, and they're going to be joining both of us at 11:15, one today and one tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But
all I know is they got to get their act together, because they need to stand up to these guys. The Republicans got to come out in force.
Yep. Thank you, Matthew, for the phone call. I agree completely. I mean, the fact that he acts like there's groups inside the school that are doing this, but he says they're DMing me directly. You're not supposed to talk to kids. Teachers can't on social media talk to other kids.
They
talk
wrote
to their
rules
children
against that.
Right. They can't have your cell phone number. They can't have your social media account. There are strict rules that are now in place. They weren't in place before, but he doesn't have to follow them. And then to see him lead 300 plus kids down busy Arlington Heights Road in the middle of the day, and there's no teachers around. They're running across the street. They got boom boxes. I mean, it's gross.
But this is, again, why hopefully I get a response from my FOIA request, finding out to what degree is the administration just rolling over and allowing this to happen. It's patently unsafe, and it should be illegal to allow this to occur. So I don't know. It's your schools, parents. You need to take charge of them. How often do we have to tell you that? Did you even bother to vote for your school board members in the off-year elections?
Because that's where it starts.
Exactly.
Quickly, let's go to Bob in Buffalo Grove. Hey, Bob.
How you doing, Amy and Jean? Who is this guy? Thanks for airing this segment. Is he a teacher?
No, he's not. He's an LGBTQ plus first one on the Cook County Board Commissioner. He's running for Congress, and he's organizing because that's what District 214 said. We don't know how he's communicating with our students, but they were organized and walked out of school. That was at Elk Grove. So thanks, Bob, for the phone call. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. We're back at 11 a.m. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
More Americans are coming home from the Middle East. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, which hasn't been easy to do with another 2,000 flights canceled today.
The State Department has been